Well, wait. Introduction, John. What podcast are we listening to? Are we talking about here?
The Truckery podcast.
That's right, people. You are listening.
And we have Kenny.
And we have Kenny. So, I guess I'm your host, Devin, with OBS Solutions. We're not supposed to say that, but that's John with Carrot Customs. And Kenny from OBS Solutions is with us as well. We brought him back in for a second round. And
because the first one just wasn't enough.
No, we need another.
I'm going to try to back myself into some more corners.
There you go.
You can always tell when it's been a little while because, talking on the phone with Kenny, he's like, I've been telling Devin, I think I need to be on the podcast again.
I like how it says I need to be on the podcast again.
Yeah, because I got to set the record straight.
Because every time we do, we have an episode and there's something not quite right, I get a phone call from Kenny right after it's released. And he's like, I was yelling at you guys in the truck.
It's true.
So if you're listening to our lovely shit show, maybe if you're a first time listener, we don't take ourselves seriously and neither should you. We have a good time here. We talk all things OBS Fords and all trucks. And sometimes we put cars in there, which sometimes we do that. I apologize. But we're going to talk about all things trucks most of the time and maybe some movie stuff because really we dig movies and mostly car movies, right? Or something like that. So
just good movies.
Yeah, good stuff. So follow along, listen if you like. You can watch this, of course.
Yeah. And that we officially now have a YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh.
In case you guys are wondering.
How many followers, subscribers do we have?
It's cranking.
10.
We have a grand total of, let me switch counts here.
That looks like a really good
Oh,
timer.
we gained one.
No way. Oh, man.
Hold on. Let me get to the studio section. We have 11 subscribers.
No way. That's incredible. Hey, thanks, 11 subscribers. That's awesome.
Let's take a look at our content here.
Okay.
So one
Let's
of
see
our
if we know
YouTube
any of our
videos
subscribers.
Has 0 views. One has 1.
Wait, is this 0 views on
YouTube?
YouTube, okay.
Okay, we have over 70,000 listens on podcast platforms, which
is that good?
That I don't know. I think it's not bad.
Okay.
I think it's pretty decent.
Okay.
But the YouTube channel was started within the last week just because now we're doing video, so I'm having to upload all of our recent video stuff. So if you guys like watching your podcasts on YouTube, go check out the Truckery podcast on YouTube and subscribe and comment. And because we're reading all the comments, because currently I think we only have 4 comments. So,
does that mean we're doing a good job or bad job? I feel like a comment could be
we
good
have
or bad.
11 subscribers.
Oh, okay.
Look at this. Your channel is attracting more viewers. Congratulations, new achievement, 10 plus subscribers.
We have a trophy. Oh my gosh, damn.
4.4 hours of listening.
Can you take that to the bank? Like,
No.
I'd like a home loan, please. Here's my subscribers. I have a trophy on digital. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So but you can also watch it on Spotify.
Yes.
I believe I don't know if there's other podcast platforms that do video, but we do everything through Spotify. So on Spotify, it's video. And now it's going to be on YouTube. Or it is on YouTube.
Got it.
So go subscribe and leave us some comments and, whatnot.
You know what I say, Devin, right?
What?
You're a big deal in a small world.
Oh, I was going to say a big deal in a small package. I'm good with both of those. I'm good with both of those, trust me. Anyway, so listen along. If you enjoy this, we love your comments, by the way. So if you have questions, send them to us. We try to answer them.
And topic ideas.
Oh, yeah, we love topic ideas.
Speaking of topics, what was your question?
Question. It wasn't a question.
About technology.
Yeah, it's like how much technology can we throw into an old vehicle? Say an OBS Ford, if you will, of all things.
I think
what
it's
point-
all dependent. And what
Right.
technology are we going for?
Well, like we just got out of that Sequoia.
Yeah.
Heated steering wheel, massaging seats, lane assist. I mean, at what point do we take away the fun fact of just driving something old?
So you and I had a conversation about this not long ago, Devin.
We did.
And we were talking about, where do you draw the line? And I feel like a lot of people own, in our case, OBS trucks, Ford trucks, because they like to go back to the simpler stuff. It's a throwback because a lot of owners have like a newer vehicle that does have those nice creature comfort features, right? They're quiet, they're comfortable, they have the seats or the heated steering wheel or whatever.
Can we do a poll on this? Because I don't
We
know
should.
that a lot of our listeners,
Well, maybe
there's a lot of people that probably just that is their rig.
Maybe they don't. I'm going somewhere with that. And
All
so
right,
what
all
I'm
right.
saying is there's that, but I feel like those who want those new comforts in their older truck are the ones that drive just the one, or primary vehicle is just the one. They're the ones. I mean, I was guilty of it when my OBS Ford was the only vehicle I had to drive. I was trying to find things to make it feel like a more luxurious, newer truck that I couldn't, at the time, couldn't afford, right? And I thought it was really cool that I'm going to put Super Duty seats in with leather and power, because this truck never came with them, or whatever. I'm going to LED lights, at the time, those were like things you could do. And obviously it's gone much farther than that now, but my mindset's changed now. When I drive those trucks, I want them to feel old because I have a newer truck to drive. So I shifted, like, I kind of have been on both sides of it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
It really depends on where you're at.
I still love the feeling of getting in an OBS4 that's pretty like stock, in the sense of like, creature comforts are bare minimum. You don't have heated seats, or they're not super seats. I still love getting in, like our Fummins truck, which is all stock interior wise. It's just like the feeling of just driving something like from that era, almost just, it's the feeling of like, oh, the 90s. I love the 90s, being that was my generation in the sense of growing up, right? I'm sure someone older would say the 80s.
Well, what things from the 90s can you enjoy regularly now?
None.
Besides a vehicle that's like from that era. Music,
Music, 100% music, but other than that,
movies.
Or old TV shows. And you don't even watch old TV shows from the 90s. They suck when you go to watch them. If I was going to watch like if like I said, like the A-Team, you go to watch it like, oh God, they're so bad. You can't watch Chips, A-Team, or what am I missing? Dukes of Hazzard.
That was before the 90s.
Right, I'm talking 80s.
Showing his age.
I'm showing the 80s, right? Like the 80s era. But you go to watch it and you're like, this really sucks. I thought it was better, right? You're like, oh dude, it's like, but like, you're right. What else can you do?
Vehicles. I think that's why people are drawn to them so much.
That's a good point. That's a damn good point.
I kind of have like a combination thing. I like driving my old truck, but there's things that like I would not be opposed to having. One, outside air temperature sensor.
Yeah.
Because
around here you need that.
In the wintertime, it's really beneficial to know
if the road's gonna be slick and
am I driving on ice or is that wet?
Yeah.
How many of those can you trust though? I've found there's what's the what do you call it?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
the room
if it's
for error.
like 32 degrees, I'm still driving with caution. If it says 37, I'm like, all right, I think I'm pretty safe. Even in a modern vehicle.
Sure.
But the other thing, if I could figure it out, a heated steering wheel. Those are just honestly, they're both like climate related things, but having gotten the wife a more modern rig.
Heated steering wheel. Now you're a bougie bitch. Listen to you.
A little bit.
Listen to that.
I'm not worried about trying to put in adaptive cruise control or lane assist. Like that's stupid. That's over the top.
Yeah.
And like massaging seats, but a heated steering wheel and an outside air temp sensor are like my two, aside from the things they came with, like cruise control.
Yeah.
I think that's really like the biggest amenity. The other thing that I would like is automatic climate control, which you can convert them, and that I don't think is that modern because
is it that big a deal?
Audi had it back in the day. No,
is it that big a deal to like move a knob just a little bit?
But it's
I have both, and it doesn't. I don't know. Sometimes
I love to just set the temperature and just not touch it.
See, I was thinking about that because I heard you mention it on a podcast a while back. What do you set yours to?
Like 69.
Yeah.
Great number.
And I'm like in 72 or whatever. But what I hate is sometimes you're like, oh, I got to kick this thing off or change it. And it like swings so massively. Like all of a sudden the air conditioning's on and you just had the heater on and it's like trying to compensate for the temperature inside because you want to cool it down.
Right.
And whereas the knobs are very simple.
I just love the knobs, dude. Maybe I'm a basic bitch, but I just like the old school knobs that no technology, no like digital bullshit, just like but yet then I'm
like
not
an Aaron Tippin song.
Oh,
Big Boy Toys, you know that song? Aaron Tippin,
so.
old like 90s country singers, like knobs and switches, motors and lights, or something.
Yes, I do know.
But I mean, like at some point,
I think of when
I think it's the point of like Kenny and I have this discussion. Like, if you didn't have a newer vehicle, then you're like, man, I wish I had all this in my older vehicle. But then you have a newer vehicle, like, man, I just really getting in my older vehicle and driving it and feel the nostalgia of something from the 90s or 80s era.
Yes.
You know,
Or older.
Or oh heck yeah. I can't get down for some reason. Like everyone, I love the dent side, bump side stuff, but I'm not so drawn to it to want to own one. I've had opportunities to buy a dent side, and I'm like, I don't know. I love that body style. I had one when my first truck was a little short wide in the bump side that I wish I would never sold. But I think the brick nose, the bull nose, and the arrow nose are just my weak. Like I can't steer away from those vehicles for some reason.
A little bit of a segue into our next topic.
What's that? Oh,
you have a recent.
Oh wait, we can't switch topics yet.
No,
not yet.
Well, he just tried going there.
No, I just brought it up because the body styles. I was gonna say, the old dent side bump sides. Like you get in there, there's no plastic, all steel, old school. And I was the reason I was getting to is those weren't even knobs; those were sliders, right? You slid everything, and even those were even older.
The sliders,
right? You slid everything.
My Toyota is.
Yep.
That thing, we basically it has no AC, so we just leave the heat, all of them, defrost everything all the way over, and even with no heat on, it cranks out the heat. You got to open the rear window, and
I think that's what I was getting to in this whole comment is we as a human race survived for years with just no adaptive cruise, no heated steering wheel, no massaging seats, and
no seatbelts.
No seatbelts, and we're happy as a clam.
Lap belts only.
Yeah. If that. And then now we get to this point where we have to have all this shit, and you're like, fuck, I need my OBS Ford to have all this stuff in it. And I'm like, bitch, people back there in the fucking 60s and 50s had none of that shit, and they had no problem at all.
Oh, yeah.
And those people were pussies compared to the people in the 30s with open windshield and shit. In the Model A's and all that, those old vehicles. I'm like, man, at what point? We're just getting softer and softer.
Yeah.
We are.
It's true.
You're like, Devin, after Trent's new vehicle, I got to have a heated steering wheel. Well, you just bitchified yourself a little bit.
Have to. I said I like it. But on a funny note.
Okay.
Or tangent.
We can't tangent. We're on the schedule.
Right. I just got back from a family trip to Mazatlan, Mexico, where I lived for a year as a kid. And my niece, who is 12, my older sister's daughter, she lives in a modern America, pretty normal, well life, and has never really experienced much. And so we get down there and we have to, take a taxi from where we're staying to this place downtown for dinner. And there's 9 of us, because it's all the siblings, all the significant others, kids, whatever. Actually, she was the only kid. But we hop in the bed of a mini truck, like a Toyota or whatever, a Ranger or something, where they built in bench seats.
Okay.
In the bed with a cover and whatnot. And you ride in the bed of the pickup truck, and that's normal. And what started when we got in the taxi from the airport with her, she's like, Mom, do I have to wear my seatbelt here? And I look over and I'm like, click it or ticket, and, her parents start laughing. They're like, we're in Mexico. You're probably fine. And then later on in the trip, we hop in the bed of that truck and we're just cruising around. And I'm like, Olivia, where's your seatbelt? And it was fun to see her experience. This is pretty normal, and seeing other people riding in the bed of a truck, around town. At first it was oh my gosh, there's people in the bed of the truck. We used to do that all the time. Even in high school, in Oregon, it's legal as long as all the seatbelts are used in the cab. You can put people in the bed.
Did you ever stand on the bumper and hang onto the tailgate while they're driving?
Oh yeah, I've also. Have you ever held on to the tailgate on a skateboard?
No, like Marty McFly, trying to.
Oh, I've crashed real hard.
I could see speed.
I was thinking Christian Slater on Gleaming the Cube, but anyway, that shows my age.
It was just one of those fun experiences of there are places in the world where they still rock it old school, and it's not like you have to be in a seatbelt and a 5-point harness as a 3.5-year-old.
I live where I live out of town, kind of on the edge of town. It's not it's what they call it, outside urban growth in the county. Yeah. But we have where I live. Neighborhoods, right? And my parents live like a block-ish away, and I will do that with my kids. I'll throw them in the bed of the truck. Like, we're going to go over to Grandma and Grandpa's, to my parents' house, and, we're going to pick up like a folding table or something like that. And I'm like, hop in the back of the truck, and I'll look in the mirror, and they're like, they think it's the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, thank God my kids get to experience a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because most of their friends probably have no idea.
What it's like to not.
It's something that's going to die with
like,
our generation.
Locked in.
Yeah. We take it for granted, right?
You don't know there's so many things, I guess, in life. You don't realize how much they meant to you until they're gone.
Right.
And you don't realize it till they're gone.
Well, I think it's as we get older, there's so much stuff that gets taken away. So Sean and my brother and I grew up after school walking the ryegrass fields, shooting nutria with our 22s or shooting whatever in our 22s.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, that's how my parents were very didn't have a lot of money, but my dad always made sure we had a brick of 22s. And I'm like, we just shot everything we can in the ryegrass fields with our 22s. I don't think I can even though I live 30 minutes out of town out in the country, I can't let my boys just wander around with 22s like we did.
Nowadays,
Hell
no.
no. Which just sucks because the society has gotten so like, if some farmer saw my kid with a 22 hopping fences like we did, they probably call the sheriff, and my kids might get shot accidentally, or who knows.
I mean, if I saw a kid jump into my field with a gun in his hand,
right.
I'd be like,
what the hell?
No,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Sean and I were always, jumping fences with 22s and just shooting whatever we like. It was a great childhood, but you're right. Like the stuff that we take for granted that we did is a big deal a lot of days. And that's a good one, Kenny, because I never thought about that. Like just hop in the back of the pickup bed. And
speaking of back of the trucks, did you guys ever road trip in the back with like a canopy?
Yes. I went all the way. Yeah, my uncle, he had like a 78 Ford, and my cousin and I rode probably 4 hours in the back of his pickup because it was just him. It was him and my aunt in the front seat and my cousin and I in the back.
Me and my sister rode in the back of my dad's extended cab OBS Chevy with the canopy from Salem to Sacramento.
Dude, my parents always had us in the canopy in the camper. Sean and I stayed in the camper or in the camper.
Like a camper.
Camper. And it was just my mom and dad and my dad's 66 Ford. And we were on top of the bunk, just usually fist fighting and getting in trouble. But yeah, I mean, we stayed in the camper the whole time.
That's how my brother, who's a lot older than me, grew up living with my dad, obviously, and they would travel around 68 Ford with a camper on it. This isn't exactly good life advice, but his job, my dad would be driving, be like, Jim, beer me. My brother's grabbing beers out of the fridge and passing them through. And like on the way from, Southern California to the Colorado River, Barstow, Parker, Arizona.
Okay.
Just
go that way.
And that was just totally normal. Like, my mom's sitting up front, brother and sister in the back, like.
So it was always a
beers.
single cab. It was a single cab, 66 Ford that my dad had, 2-wheel drive. And there was no slider. So Sean and I would have to shine a flashlight through. We'd have to take a piss. We'd like shine a flashlight through, like, hey, signaling we had to take a piss. And I knew for a fact he saw that light in the dash, but he kept on driving.
Yeah,
like, he didn't want to,
sure.
Like, I knew the old man would like, screw you kids. But I do remember because my parents, my mom's family's from the Bay Area. So every year we have to make that trip and they take it in that setup. But one year, the pass got so gnarly, my dad pulls over and he's like, all right, you boys are in the front with us. And I was like, why? Well, the roads were so nasty.
And the Siskiyous?
Yeah. And there was a car flipped over shit. It's like, he actually
like,
does care. Man. He does care enough to.
And he's doing a 66 Ford with a camper and 2-wheel drive, just
with a 429. He put a 429 in that thing. It was gnarly.
That's awesome.
And then later almost burnt to the ground. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But
you've told that story on here before.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. So what do you have Dakota Digital up on the screen here?
Well, we're talking about technology in these older trucks,
right?
And I'm super stoked because Dakota Digital, like they've had stuff out for what the brick noses
and the bull
nose trucks, but they recently just released, and this is Dakota Digital should sponsor this. Please contact us, the Truckery Podcast at gmail.com.
The official gauge cluster of the Truckery Podcast.
But they came out with a new gauge cluster that is incredibly badass.
So we installed one of these on Naylor's brick nose, and it was great. The thing's badass. It's very plug and play for aftermarket. Does this one use? This won't let us do factory plug and play though.
I don't think so.
No, which sucks, but
it does OBD2 and CAN bus,
which is cool.
Interface modules. Let's see specifications. So 0 to 115 mile an hour speedometer, TAC 0 to 8,000, a real oil pressure sensor.
Are you serious? You mean,
0 to
are you
80?
telling me that our oil pressure sensor or our oil pressure gauge in the OBS Ford isn't a real one? What?
No.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Don't
trust that. Don't trust that, people. Don't trust that.
Coolant temp gauge, all the things. Standard displays, odometer, dual trip meters, which is kind of nice, clock, and estimated range miles to empty. Which that's kind of cool.
That's very cool
because
you
can dial it in.
If you get it, like you said, dialed in, that just gives you like a second option in case you're not sure if your aftermarket sending unit is going to work.
Exactly.
Which, if you see the aftermarket sending units we're getting these days, it's kind of skeptical. It's kind of hit and miss at times.
Aftermarket these days,
it's a joke.
Is getting frustrating.
And even factories getting frustrating for parts.
I don't know where you go to find good parts anymore.
I like this,
Make them yourself,
like the indicators. I think that's like your lights that are built into the dash.
Yes.
Wait to start for when vehicle is equipped. That's sweet.
That is cool.
Yeah, a lot of times you find this stuff and they just totally forget the diesel.
Exactly. 2 auxiliary input indicators for user programmable labels. Like, that's kind of nice. You could have potentially an EGT indicator on there.
Yeah.
Where it's like you start getting hot and that thing starts
comes on.
flashing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's cool.
I thought if you don't see EGTs, they're not a problem. They're not a problem.
Oh, that's true, Kenny. It's a figure of imagination.
Yeah.
Oh, that little guy, wouldn't worry about that.
Don't worry about that one.
And the reason I thought about this is
colors. You can get all kinds of different colorways too.
Yeah, whatever color you want to do. Let's see. They have something where it also does outside air temp.
Oh.
And I don't know. I swear I saw it on here. It does performance meters. 0 to 60, quarter mile and eighth mile times, trap speeds, high speed recall, high RPM recall. So you can almost data log a little bit. Options. Where is it? There was something. I know it does.
Was back. Go back. I just saw it. Go back. This?
Oh, yeah. Compass with outside air temp module.
That's cool.
Like that's a feature that I personally would really like.
I do like the compass on my Super Duty.
Do you really?
Just be able to see to confirm
like when we're in the woods and stuff doing stuff and I'm like I kind of know what. Oh, it's that way. That's right.
When are you in the woods?
Sometimes.
What about hoodoo?
Yeah. I've been in the woods more than you.
More than you.
I don't know about that, Kenny. That might be fake news right there.
I will be when I have my Jeep done.
I'm going to drive from my house through the woods all the way to your new place.
Are you going to do it in a vehicle or on a dirt bike?
Dirt bike.
Well, that's different. You said drive.
No, XR100.
Can I ride on the back like
Dumb and Dumber
style?
Yeah, if you want.
Actually, I think one of those trips would be a lot of fun. One of those
Jeff Mackey trips.
Yeah, just a dirt road trip or whatever from point A to point B.
Dude,
yeah.
As long as it's the right time of the year.
Let's plan it out. Come over here, park your truck here, or have some way of getting here, and you, me, Jack, whoever.
Yeah.
Why don't you take your Jeep?
We'll ride from here to Devin's house.
Oh, I could ride the TTR.
Oh, there you go.
To his house.
Yeah, all mini bikes.
It'd be fun.
That'd be a fun trip.
That'd be cool.
Just have to be like, Devin, can you get a 5-gallon? Or no, you're right by a gas station.
I will. The gas station down the road. We'll make it happen.
Be fine.
We'll make it happen.
No, that would be rad.
Okay,
Anyways.
So moving on from, this Dakota Digital Dash, that's pretty cool. They started making stuff for Aeronos stuff.
Well, and it seems like I'm looking at this doing the Duramax swap. As far as technology and vehicles, that's one of the things I want. I want a 6-speed auto.
Yeah.
I want VGT turbo, common rail, and to be able to, and I want to call them and talk to them about it, but being able to connect CAN bus to the factory GM ECU, all of it sounds really quite nice.
Our experience with them was very easy when Ron went to go wire everything up. It was I mean, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't like you needed a degree in anything.
Did they provide the sensors, or did you have to get your own? Because that was
Ooh.
a big block Ford.
It was. I can't remember on that one.
I think they provide them.
I would think they did.
Because the gauge is going to be all based off of the resistance of the sensors.
Unless you're getting it OBD too.
Well, it says here,
it does OBD.
That's what I mean. Unless you're getting the data for like a temperature gauge.
Right.
The OBD2, you'd have to run their gauge. It wouldn't be like because it has to have an own.
No, I think it was
reading.
generic. Because you know when you go to do the edge stuff, all those sensors are almost like a generic thing.
Right.
If you look at they're not
a pressure
like,
sensor, a temperature
Yeah,
sensor. Like they're only like 3 sensors they have.
correct. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Their stuff's
I
like
see.
pretty generic. But anyway, Dakota Digital, like it's pretty cool. They're doing this.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like you're seeing it more and more with aftermarket companies like that. They're starting to look at us, trailer park people. Like, oh my gosh, there's like a following for these OBS Fords, and like you're starting to see it everywhere.
You see, I mean, they're hitting that 30-year mark.
Yeah.
They are.
So
They're
that's about
they're
the
more
time.
than 30 if you look at 92.
Well, if you look at Kenny's truck,
Kenny,
what is
yours-
Shit, mine's almost 40 years old.
so
it's
It's
crazy.
87. So think about
Yours?
my brown truck.
That's in 87?
Yeah,
Oh,
first
I
year.
didn't know that.
So like look what I mean, like you're starting to see companies like this, which is cool because now I would hope you'd see mainstream companies start following it more.
So is this too much technology for you?
No,
Yeah,
I think this is
absolutely not.
functional. This is
Okay.
functional shit.
Functional
And
technology.
I would say now don't hold my opinion doesn't hold any water in the weight of water with anything. It's just my opinion. Like at what point?
Opinions
like-
are like assholes.
Well, if you go
Everyone's
look
got
at
one.
it, it still resembles a factory dash, which I like a lot, but
Yep.
it's just way more user friendly and adaptable. I don't think I would like if it looked like all digital, like a 90s.
if it looked like a brand new, like,
Right. It wouldn't fit.
car
Well, it's when someone
instrument
it's like those
cluster.
guys that start to swap in like a aluminum duty dash in an OBS Ford.
I was talking like Knight Rider kit, like
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
no, that is stupid.
No.
It's got like as you speed up, the blocks come up, or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's like that's your test.
That's like 90s Chevy stuff, though, honestly.
Yeah, I remember.
Right.
I remember those digital dashes in the S10 Blazers.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
terrible. But
Yeah.
uh
But this is good. I think this is.
I think there's for me when at least for like what I like, I just think there's a threshold for too much. Like I said, people are putting the different dashes
was
in
just
an
gonna
OBS
say
Ford.
that.
It's like, dude, why? The dashes were cool enough then. Why would I want to church it up to the point where it's
They're doing
I
like a
don't like
full
it.
like Super Duty interior, platinum dash
Right.
and center console. And
I just think the old Ford stuff is so cool. The door panels were cool regardless of their, durability, but I still think the flow of them, how they looked was really really cool for that era. But
The only
every,
thing I would do, I think, is if I had a brick nose or an arrow nose, or a brick nose or a bull nose, I like those bodies, but I'd rather have the arrow nose dash.
correct. I agree
we
on
talked
that.
about that.
Yeah. That's like, I don't like the idea of a modern F350 or, modern F Series dash in one of those trucks. It just doesn't feel like it's ever going to be right.
Yeah, I think the arrow nose. I think there was a truck. There's a guy on Instagram. I can't remember his name. That had a dually that put just bull nose exterior on an arrow nose truck.
Which
Right.
looks
Just
cool.
a
Which
bed.
look-
It's a bed and a front clip.
Front clip, yeah, and which looked
Yeah.
really good.
Well, that's why I used to always, in the brick nose world, I'd be in these Facebook groups, and the guys are like, "I'm doing a Power Stroke swap," and I'm like, "Just buy a Power Stroke truck and swap the clip and call it a
Right.
day." Like it's a lot.
That's
It's a lot easier.
easier.
You might even be able to find the same color.
Yeah.
that's true.
Even then, probably painting it would be cheaper and easier than,
Yeah. Power stroke swaps are not like, I had somebody call and ask about like power stroke swap versus a Cummins swap. I'm like, honestly,
do a Cummins swap,
Cummins swap,
easy. All
unless
day.
you're a diehard
Right.
or like you really want a 7.3. If you just want more modern technology and you're looking for like the best bang for your buck, because he had an IDI.
Oh, common
Right.
rail it. 100%
Yeah.
common rail.
Or
IDIs are the
even
best.
If you're on a budget,
12 valve.
12 valve over a 7.3 power
100%.
stroke.
Yeah.
I would do a 12 valve swap. You don't have to change the entire dash harness. And then
No.
like just the cost of the upgrades that you need to do to a 7.3
Yeah,
to,
to make
like,
that power.
to make it reliable, like is
And
the
what's-
cost of the
And what's
Cummins
cool is
swap.
with the IDI, you already have your diesel fuel tanks and fuel
Yeah.
system.
Well, I
and
did
all
one.
the wiring's
Yeah,
there.
you did one.
It's
I mean,
easy. The fuel line's are the same size.
Yeah.
I just was like, cut, bonk, cut, bonk. Oh, look, I got a fuel system.
Yeah.
Like your fuel selector works, your gauge works.
Yeah.
it's almost.
And I'm like, all right, where's the wire for the fuel shutoff solenoid from the IDI? Right here. All right, I'm gonna extend that. I'm gonna run it over here to the. All right, where's the start? Just hook the starter up, and boom, we got a freaking 12 valve that runs in our truck. It's like,
it makes more power.
regardless, it was stupid simple. What I was
Yeah.
you just reminded me of something I was thinking about on the drive over here. Speaking of power strokes and reliability, I was gonna let you know every time I drive over here to Bend and I go up the hill,
by the
past
dam.
By the dam.
just past the dam, I always am like, where did John realize things went bad with that to 7.3?
Right around that corner and that hill upwards. Like I went
The
about-
last climb.
Yeah, the last climb to that parking lot at the dam is when it like full blown. Like,
You're so lucky it let go there. You got a place to
I
park.
pulled in there to.
well, there wasn't a spot, and I'm like, I could see up the road. I'm like, well, here we go.
That's
Let's
a bad area.
going. Let's just like I knew it was. I only had a finite amount of time until I ran out of oil.
I pulled in there to use the restroom at the dam. They got like a little single one there, that's a permanent whatever. And
Yeah.
I like got out of my pickup, went to the restroom, and I was walking back to the truck, and I was like looking around on the ground. I was like, I wonder if there's any evidence.
There was for a long time.
I was gonna get my phone out and do like a story or something, and be like, I'm here at the scene of the crime. Like,
Kenny, would it be awesome if it was a chalk outline? It's still there, a chalk outline, like someone like a dead body, but instead it's like a dead truck.
yeah, I'm like, am I the only one that like every time? That was a couple years ago. I drive over with my kids. It doesn't matter. Like we go over, I'm like, oh, I remember what John was thinking when this happened.
Look, kids,
Oh, it
there's a
was
John
bad.
Carrick Memorial right there as we go by.
We should put one of those crosses up.
I walked back down the road and found a chunk of the block, and it sits on my desk.
That's great.
Yeah.
That you're lucky because any further down the hill or any further up the hill,
Oh yeah.
it gets even gnarlier.
I was able to full on drive into the parking lot and stop, and like I stopped and thought about it for a second, and as I was thinking, it just died. I'm like, well,
Did you ever get a certain failure analysis
I think
on
it was a
that?
cracked piston.
Oh,
I didn't. Dude, it was torched. Holes in both sides of the block. I mean, I drove it
Well,
for like
that was the
quarter mile.
aftermath of it.
8th mile to a
with a
quarter
hole
mile.
in the block.
Yeah, as soon as it let go, like my brother and I looked at each other, and we're like, "Oh shit!"
The noise
Like
it made.
you knew immediately what happened. We're like, well, there's no saving this engine. Like,
Right.
let's keep trucking as far as we can to be able to get to a safe spot.
Did I ever tell you
And-
that I came around? Randy and I were going jet skiing up at Detroit after work. Stand ups, by the way, not those lame sit downs.
What do you call those?
We call sit downs water couches. So anyway, we're going to Detroit, and I come around the corner, not too far where John was from, and an OBS fully engulfed in flames, pulling a massive boat. Fully engulfed. I still go around that same corner, probably a turbo, like an oil feed line or something got hot. We had a massive boat, I always call them drug smuggler boats, like something you see like a 30-footer.
I love
Donzi.
Yeah, way too much weight.
I want one.
Dude, the guy's got the hood up and flames just rolling out of this thing. The whole thing's up and up. I'm like, oh shit! I still remember seeing
How much
that.
you want to bet he had a super chips in that thing with
Just
no
sending it,
EGT gauge,
probably.
and he's like, I can tow this boat full throttle all the way up. It's power stroke 7.3.
It'll do it all.
It does everything.
Million-mile motor. Barely broken in.
Exactly. I think it's comical, but yeah. But anyway, so that was my thing I thought about today was like the technology factor. I guess it just depends on what you want to put into your truck and what your style is. when it
What
comes
makes
down
you
to it.
happy, right?
What makes you happy?
I kind of want your new Sequoia seats in there, I think.
Those I thought they were gonna be cheesy, but I'm pretty impressed.
They're pretty good.
they're not bad.
Yeah.
Massaging seats that actually feel like a real massaging.
I just
chair.
wonder, like, is that going to, like, put you to sleep?
That's what I was going to say.
I look at the reliability. Is that something you have to like? Hey, you have a TSB on your seat, your massaging seats, and they're having like this recall, or I don't
What
know.
if someone could like hack into your car and make the seat kill you?
Dude, that is a real thing. Like,
I'm just
I
saying.
think almost
be
every
wary.
modern vehicle, like, if they wanted to, they could probably go in and just shut you down immediately.
Not our old Fords.
No,
See?
not those.
Right there.
I would not put the technology in my vehicle
Sorry,
for that to
Lisa.
be possible.
That's good stuff. All right, moving on. What else do we have today to go over?
You told me you had some stuff to tell me about.
Oh, I was gonna tell you about my latest purchase.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me, is it this?
It's this. I want to thank Enrique for taking money out of my savings account.
Hold on. How'd you find out about this?
I think probably Kenny. Naturally, he's really good at spending my money.
It's on my resume.
Yes, that is actually part of his business profile. So this right here, Enrique. If you don't know Enrique Smith, he's quite a character. He
has been on the podcast.
Yes, he has. Thank you. And
a while ago.
Should have him back.
Should, because he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the bull noses, and he's a wealth of knowledge regardless. He likes to tinker in the realm of the dent side and bump sides, and the bullnose market, which I'm not really like. My dad had a bullnose for a long time. I like bullnose trucks. I think it's very iconic body style.
It is.
And, not round fenders. They're square cut. The front of the truck is so cool. So I've always wanted one. And we have so many people that reach out to us, go, hey, will your OBS Solutions parts fit on a bullnose? And I'm like, dude, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know the sill and scuffs, instead of a 4-bolt for the sill plates, are a 3-bolt or something different. And so this was a good excuse for me to start prototyping with the bullnose. Enrique found this truck in a field, and if you're not seeing this on our screen here, it is now this is kind of cool because it's a F100 instead of an F150.
Yeah.
So I think
yeah.
So it's an 82 F100. It has the cool mirrors that you don't get on the later bullnoses, and it's
Why don't you read the description?
Oh,
there is
thank
no
you.
description.
Oh,
Not much of one.
Was a description. I think you got rid of it because
go down. I thought there was something at the very bottom.
he's highly rated.
No, he is highly rated because he's flipped a lot of shit. So anyway, what's cool about this is it's a 5 on 5.5, right, Kenny?
4.5.
4.5. Thank you.
Factory
bolt pattern rather than a 5 on 4.5, which really gets difficult in our arrow nose trucks for finding aftermarket wheels that are custom made. Not that we're going to keep that bolt pattern. We don't know yet. But so I just, Enrique or Kenny sent this to me and check this out. And I'm like pondering it. And I'm like, you know what, Lisa, let's hop in the family truckster and let's take an 1.5-hour trip up north into no man's land of Portland area. And let's go check this out. And
he doesn't live in Portland.
No, thank God. But you have to go through that area to get there, which is enough.
And it's, like we said, regardless of if you buy it or not, it's a good excuse to go hang out with Enrique.
Oh, dude.
He's always fun.
What's cool about Enrique, you can see the pictures here. That's his garage. And Enrique does all these different projects, flips trucks, puts them together, whatever. And he all does it from his garage. So no shop, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you go there and everything's clean. There isn't shit everywhere. He keeps things all legit clean. Everything's in order. And he's a great human to be around. And he was all stressed out about me buying this truck from him.
It's not nice enough for Devin.
That's what he says. It's not nice enough. I'm like, dude, I don't care. I just want to see this
find
thing.
my conversations. He was telling me, he's like, I don't know, man.
So anyway, this is an XL truck, not an XLT. It does have the chrome trim around the wheel wells, which kind of drew me to it. And so yeah, we bought it. And the bed, that's everything. He didn't show pictures of the bed, but the inside of the bed is like in amazing shape. And water intrusion and rust there's no rust in it. So we bought that. But more importantly, I pull up to the house, and Lisa's always down for just to go for a ride to go look at old trucks. So I'm like, hey,
nice.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, let's go look at old truck, right? She had no idea it was Enrique's house, by the way.
Didn't it? It came with the interior?
Some pieces, yes.
Okay.
So, but it's funny you mentioned that because my plan would be to swap that to arrow nose interior.
I like that.
That would be my plan so we have a bunch of parts trucks. I have a couple single cabs. I would just take the gray out of it and put the gray in that.
And is it a direct swap?
I don't know about that. They're based upon the same principles. I was looking at the dash fixtures. It's hard for me to see it without having one of our other parts trucks next to it. It looks like the same principles minus the pedal assembly or in your steering column bracket.
Right.
That's a totally different animal. So that's the only question.
But can you swap that over?
I don't know. That's something I don't know yet.
Does it show the motor in the truck? Because
No.
I was
It's an interesting
curious.
motor.
Yeah.
It's a V6, and I didn't know they made a 3. Justin and I were looking that up. It's a 3. It's not a 3.8.
It's a factory V6.
Right.
And a manual transmission.
Weird.
And I
Floor
didn't.
shift?
Was it?
Go back to the picture. I think it
The
shows.
interior.
I think it was a floor shift.
I don't think it's a column.
No, I think it's too old for a column.
Or too
Too new for a column. Thank
Yeah.
you. No, it's a hole right there. I thought it had a hole.
I see.
That's.
Wait a
I see
minute. No,
shifter.
that looks like a shifter.
It's on
Maybe
the tree.
And
maybe
we've
it was
got-
3 on the tree.
Yeah, there's 2 pedals right there.
I
Yeah.
double checked that it was a manual. So maybe it was 3 on the tree back then. That's nuts.
82, 3 on the tree.
So like Enrique, like
Odd combo.
Yeah.
he was gonna use it for a project. That's why he started doing all his work, and then something happened, and he wanted to go a different direction. And in the background, you see his dent side that he's been working on forever. So he's like,
his
yeah,
crew cab.
yep. He's like, I gotta get rid of this thing. So we bought that. But the coolest part is I rolled up to the house here, like I was saying, and as I roll up, I see this, like the truck I'm talking about, and I was like, yeah, that was me. That was nothing compared to what I did see in the front of the house. And as the other picture I sent to you on a text, I believe. And let's see if we can find that. Enrique has a lot of cool stuff sitting, like he's got it across to the neighbor's place. He's got it as his house. He's got it parked next to the neighbor's house.
Enrique has a really nice Calypso and white crew cab 96,
Yes.
97 Power Stroke truck.
Which I thought this right here, right there. No, not that one. That one.
Ooh, doggies.
That right there. I saw that and I was like, that's something I gotta have. I have to have that truck. There's
Yeah. I like that. Are you getting that?
yes.
What
I told
was
I
the
told him
story,
make me a
dude?
package deal on it.
So what is it? How did it go? Because he told me, and then I asked you.
So
When you were like started asking questions about this crew cab, what happened?
I just as I drive away, I told Lisa, I said, Lisa, that little short wide's pretty rad, but man, that crew cab, I think we have to have it. She goes, no, you don't. You don't need that, Devin. And I said, no, we do. We need to like product develop scuff plates for crew cab bullnose trucks, because I don't have a truck to prototype with, and a lot of other parts. I want to see if our Hydro Boost works with it. So I'm like building up this excuse to Lisa why we need to have this truck.
I thought you started asking Enrique about it, and then Lisa was like, "Oh, yeah, we gotta go."
Yes,
Like,
yes, that's right. Yeah, I was sitting there and it's raining, and Lisa's like, she was like getting hungry. We're going out to dinner afterwards, and I'm like, wait, Lisa, I don't want to leave yet. I want to see this crew cab. She's no, you don't need to see this crew cab. And I'm like, no, we need to see this crew cab. This thing's freaking
Everyone
sweet.
knows you got a soft spot.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I'm like, this thing is sick.
It is.
right?
That's a red vehicle that I really like.
I'm not a red guy, but it looks like
Why is that bed side?
I don't know if Enrique tried polishing on the bed versus because the other side
talking
doesn't.
about the wrinkle.
No, the
it's
bed
just
color.
a different color.
Yeah.
No one him. He likes polishing out the original paint and trying to make it pop.
Yeah, because this side looks correct.
Right. I don't know.
Is it a big block? Right?
It was an IDI truck, and someone converted to a 460, and it's a manual. I'm like, oh,
like
that's.
a 4-speed or a 5?
I forgot to ask him. I didn't really care at that point. I bet it's a 4-speed.
It's got such a good the
Yeah.
hubcaps, the dog
Yes.
dish hub. I call them dog dishes. I don't know.
Yeah.
The way it looks is just killer.
it is so killer.
So
I think you need that.
I just texted him yesterday. He said he's got some people out of Canada and someone else interested, but he didn't want to say anything until he talked to me. And I said, give you a package deal. So
Excellent.
I'm going to take the gooseneck up there in the Super Duty, load up that other one, and take Kenny with me. We're going to truck both of these
Which
home.
one are you driving?
Well, he's not going to let me tow his trailers, so I'll probably be driving.
Kenny's
that.
driving
You're not
that.
allowed to tow the trailer?
No, I have.
He has.
A couple times.
In the Super Duty, but I said, I'm like,
He,
I don't know.
he just
either
gets
way.
all antsy when I drive. He don't like the way I drive.
Mm.
No. Well, I mean,
He doesn't like the way anybody drives. I've never seen somebody. Have you been on a road trip with him?
I'm good.
Of distance.
No.
no,
He
I'm
cannot
good.
sit still
No.
in the like we're driving. I remember where we were driving, but
Back in LST.
yeah, in New Mexico, and I drove for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's so straight and flat, you know.
Boring.
Besides when we went through Albuquerque, I don't think he really stressed out or cared. But you're just like, he's just fidgeting and constantly moving. And he's like, dude, I got to drive. And I was like, did I do something wrong? And he's like, no. And he goes, I just cannot sit still over here on this side of the truck, like idle hands. And
I got to
Yeah.
drive. I can't sit still.
I'm the same way.
because I felt
can't.
bad that you drove like the entire trip. You know, I was like, dude, I can drive. You're like, nope, I got it.
I like driving.
I only
do.
pass off the wheel if I'm like
Tired?
feeling as though it's unsafe for me to
Right.
drive.
Sure.
Right.
Like on a road trip, it would be due to exhaustion.
Yeah.
I don't mind not driving if I've had a couple too many drinks.
Sure.
Like, yeah,
Oh, hell yeah.
So
somebody
that's the
else
smart
drive.
thing
Yeah, that's
to
a-
do.
Yeah.
I never drive that way.
I think
but,
it's
Just
just
the mirrors.
dude,
so I want to see if our
different-
well, I want to see if our swing locks will fit that, or do we need to make our swing lock retrofit it for that style truck?
Yeah.
My theory is it'll fit. I just think they moved the bracket. So both trucks are good for us to prototype with. And we're kind of going down that road of, like I told you, Will and I have had a discussion that I think we want to steer away from certain things in the gas world and just start doing just Godzilla and gassers. So both of these trucks might be good for that platform. I don't know. There's some R&D we really want to do, and I think a good excuse is that truck. I don't know. So we'll see.
So John, my goal is to get Devin to put a truck together and not make it immaculate cosmetically, so he actually drives it more.
Yeah.
Like
the Bronco.
Yeah,
not
the Bronco. Thank you, Kenny.
Not a total
I did that.
beater. And everybody, we love nice trucks, but it's like something like this. I look at this truck right here and it's like, oh yeah, if it drives down the road good, stops good, like drive it all the time. Like, yeah, dude, go to the crew cab.
You know what's like cool is if you could take that truck and you could put Super Duty axles on it with big brakes.
Yeah.
Hydro boost it, and whatever powertrain, that's beside the point. But with that style of wheel on a Super Duty axle,
They make bigger Steelies.
wouldn't that look cool?
Detroit. Yeah. Is it Detroit?
Detroit Steel.
There's another guy that's making them.
Wouldn't that be cool to have that retro look, but then you get underneath it and the chassis is all like...
How big of a wheel? Just a 17?
17.
Okay.
Yeah, 17.
Because they do them in like a 20, and I think that's too much for the hubcap.
I think, keep it... Yeah, this guy does... He's always showing this kind of stuff. He kind of does that.
He's very expensive.
Yeah.
In the sense of his own... This is...
Keeping it classic.
Is he sell stuff?
He's working on a wheel, I don't know if it's his or a collaboration, but...
Is it aluminum or steel?
It's billet aluminum.
No way, but it's supposed to look like a Steely.
Yeah, and it has the provisions to run the
caps. Wow, that's...
How wide are they?
I can look up my messages with him and see.
Wow.
There's
I see.
dog dishes on his Super Duty.
I didn't know he had a Super Duty. Interesting.
I don't know if that looks for me, but it's cool to see the comparison.
17 and 18.
Isn't that cool that people are like getting back into 17-inch wheels? Like it's starting to become...
Yeah.
You're seeing it more.
I think it's a correction, right? Like it's gone so
It's gone so hard to like big wheels back to now we're going back the other way. Turn it around.
Back it up, Terry.
He's got some good stuff on his page.
He definitely finds a lot of cool stuff.
$4,300 for a set. Is that right?
$3,400 for a set of 4.
Or 34 set. Wow. Well, I mean, that's not...
Did he? 8.5 or 9 wide. So they'd have a really nice stance compared to your normal steel wheels.
Yeah, you can get them however you want.
Yeah.
12 to 6 weeks to make them. I wonder who's making them for him. Interesting. Well, I mean, if there's a market for it, which obviously there is, because look at the dent side, bump side, or the Slick World, or all those trucks. So so is he going out and that's the first product he actually sells, right? Is a wheel?
He's got like keychains and
it's a sticker hat kind of thing.
Yeah,
but nothing structural.
Of what he does is like buys and sells rigs.
Yeah,
he works for. He's a firefighter
by trade, and so the side hustle is all you firefighters had a side hustle because that's like a thing.
Time off.
And so like your idle hands. You're like, hey, let's start making some side money. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think he still works down there. He lives like down the street from my brother.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, he's in Huntington.
Well, what's his page? I mean, he's got a ton of
Keeping
followers.
It Classic.
Got a ton of followers.
Oh, yeah. I remember him from day one. He wanted me to build a rig for him and record it on YouTube. And I was like,
89,000 followers. But he's always into... He doesn't go past the dent side, bump side stuff, really.
No, he had an OBS.
He did. Yeah.
Okay, that Dodge right there.
Yeah.
That is a very rare truck. It's extended cab, short bed. There was one of those in Albany I used to see all the time. That's kind of a cool truck.
He had...
Are these all his trucks? Or are they just...
Yeah, a lot of them are. Some of them are like other people's trucks that he's posted.
There's a lot of cool stuff on here.
Where it's down a little way.
The OBS was a long time ago.
That's a cool looking truck.
Yeah, the OBS was a while ago. And he posts enough that it's probably going to be hard to find. But that Mercury's
cool.
I really like. But yeah, he had an OBS, I think the same colorway as mine.
Interesting.
The dude's freaking jacked. He lifts weights a lot.
That Dodge. Can you click on that Dodge real quick?
Which one?
That first gen right there.
That's not a first. It'd be like a.
Well, what do you call that?
75 Power Wagon Club Cab.
That's a cool truck.
Adventurer. That's what I call them. Yeah.
I always had cool names like the Ram Charger, which is basically a Bronco or a Blazer, but Chrysler, the Dodge. I always like their names. Like they kind of had a cool.
They had good names.
They did
much better marketing.
Right.
Those are welds on it too.
I know.
Or big block.
These can't be all of his rigs.
Yeah.
Some
of them.
A lot of them are.
Wow.
Well, a lot of them are ones he's bought and sold.
Right.
He also has a 930, which
to sell vehicles, Kenny. That's a new concept.
Yeah, that 930 right there. That.
Huh. Is that your car?
Dude, that I wouldn't even have an OBS truck if I could have one of those.
What?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you fucking serious?
A gray, white, or black 930.
You would take that over having a fleet of OBSs or one or two?
Why?
I just absolutely love them.
Why not have both?
Well, I think that by the time I could afford a 930, I think I would be able to afford both. But
are they that expensive?
Oh,
what's a car like that worth?
200.
I don't know.
$200K for that car.
Why is that worth 200? Like what makes its value?
It's an air-cooled 911 that's a flat 6 turbo that they made a small amount of, and like wide body.
How old are they?
That's 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 930s were 76 through 80. They made them for like 10 years or something. I'm not a super nerd on it.
Oh, I know that Volkswagen.
Have you driven one?
That thing's pretty
Yeah.
gnarly.
So what was it like? Like what? I'm trying to
It's
get in your head here.
It's a very visceral feeling.
Like what is the draw? Is it like you don't understand until you've driven one kind of thing?
It's not about. It's just the style and the feel. Like driving an air cooled 911 rear engine. Like,
is it a pretty raw car?
It's a very raw car. There's
no frills. Nothing.
No
shit.
frills.
The brakes all manual.
Yes, but they're like
power steering.
No power steering.
But it's probably light enough that you didn't like really.
Yeah, you don't notice.
Well, I just mean the feel, right? Like I've driven certain vehicles that are made that way, especially in the car world, and it's a part of the experience.
Oh yeah,
what you're getting into.
It's an experience.
Have you driven a brick nose with a gasser in it? Have you done that yet?
Yes.
Oh, does it compare to that?
It's not overwhelming. It's very underwhelming.
I mean, those are really fun too. I love 911s. I don't know why. I've had a model of a 964, which is the last era of the air-cooled 911s since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
My uncles.
This is really what he wanted to talk about.
I know.
This is not really what I want to talk about. I just love.
Oh no! I'm sure this guy's got an OBS, but he happens to have this
Porsche that I'm like super like wet between the legs for.
Yeah. I would do. I would do a lot of things.
It really surprises me. Wow. Well,
that is my ultimate dream car.
Is there a car that Devin would own? Like Devin, if you could have any car, is there a car on your list? Like not a pickup, not a truck, not an SUV. Is there a car?
Oscar and I have this discussion all the time. Like, cause Oscar's little Falcon is like, I love that car, but I'm such a truck guy. I can't even stand cars.
Really?
I hate cars.
None.
Like I'm saying, like, no price, no rarity.
A Fox body style is it. But even then, I'm just not a car guy. I've never liked cars ever. I've never like want to go, man, I really want to have that car. And very few cars are real frame cars. I don't like unibody. I've never liked unibody vehicles. But that's just me. I'm goofy that way. I like trucks.
Yeah, me neither. No unibodies.
No, my entire childhood, it was exactly you. You've got some serious baggage right there with the unibody world.
Boneless.
But I'm a big truck guy. My wife's all into trucks. She hates cars. Everything we own is basically a truck frames shit. Like that Subi, that was a bad decision on my part. Like that was just for getting Lisa to pick up the kids and shit. And once it's done, we got rid of that piece of shit. But really, I like trucks. I really do. I like Oscar. Oscar's little Falcon though would probably be the one car I would want to own.
What year is that car?
Dude, I can't remember.
What about a Ranchero?
Look up Oscar
Fryman.
OOS Oscar's 100. I think.
Yeah, and the reason I like Oscar's little Falcon.
Look up Oscar. Yeah,
there
right
it is,
there.
Oscar Fryman.
Yeah, his Falcon is pretty rad.
It's rowdy. So I knew of Oscar's
There it
Falcon
is.
before Oscar got it. It was owned by our engine builder.
That car right there.
Yeah,
It's
Falcons are super cool.
what year is that? I can't remember.
I don't
That's
know.
Is that a 60?
67,
Yeah.
68.
I was gonna say 65. I was way off.
Cars like that from that era, like the Novas and the Falcons that are small like that.
Yep.
I always, for some reason, call them a shoebox.
Yeah, I mean,
Like it's a little narrow box.
but I would take his OBS Ford all day long over the Falcon. I love his
it's-
cruise
Yeah, I
short.
would take his OBS Ford over the Falcon.
Yeah, but his Falcon, so that story behind his Falcon is really cool. There's a story behind that car that is a local Oregon thing. Our machinist's ex-wife drove that thing. 65, thank you. Our machinist's ex-wife drove that back and forth to, she was a dental hygienist, and she drove that back and forth to work with a straight six.
It looked just like that,
Just
right?
like, but she'd play it up. She'd wear the gasser girl outfit with the
Oh,
headband and
she was all
shit.
into
She was like,
it.
you'd see Mandy and she'd drive. So I'd come into work and I've known her for years. And anyway, long story short, she was a good looking gal. She's all dolled up and she'd drive that into work and I'd see her and everyone was just staring at her with this car. It was big. It was all, tubbed out in the rear, but it had the straight six. So it didn't go anywhere. Right. And so then Oscar's dad buys that. And it was a collab between Oscar and his dad. Bought it from Ryan, our machinist, and did this gnarly. Look at Oscar, how young he is in that picture. Look at that. Dude, he's got to be like 14 or something right?
He doesn't look that
That's a-
much older.
He does too.
Currently.
No.
So that's 229 weeks.
No, it wasn't. It was posted in 2020. It was way before that.
Yeah, it's way before that. So anyway, his dad and him did this. This is a cool story. Him and his dad put this car together. And that's his dad right there. The other picture, of course, not that picture. That's his dad when he was a teenager. His dad was kind of a motor guy and hot rod guy. And they put this together as a father-son combo. And it's a really cool story. It's badass. So I love the story behind the car as much as the car. And
It's a manual transmission car, right?
yep, and it's spicy. It is fucking spicy.
It's so cool.
So anyway, that'd be the only car maybe I'd ever think, but I'm not a car guy. So
He tried to trade you. What did he try to trade you?
Oscar would trade me the Bronco he wanted my Bronco for his cruise short.
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, but I like the Bronco. It's hard. Broncos to me, like after you own one, you can never not have one, I think, unless if you were to trade your Bronco and sell it to buy a boneless Jeep.
I did not do that.
I think you did.
I think you did.
Didn't. You got the story wrong.
Oh, did I?
Anyway,
I had the Jeep and the Bronco at the same time, and I was planning on keeping both. And then I decided to buy a Freightliner crew cab to make into a ramp truck, and I needed to fund that, so that's why the Bronco left.
so we joke about, we call them boneless Jeeps because there are no frames.
Oh, I know.
So you know that, right?
XJs.
Yep. So we call them boneless
Yep.
Jeeps. So anyway, let's hit Marketplace before we get too late in the day here.
How long
because
are we into this?
I have no idea.
I did have I had like 2 quick questions from Instagram.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do those. Is that okay, Devin, or do you really want to hit the
Dude,
Marketplace?
I'm good. I mean, what are we into this, John?
Roughly an hour.
Okay, we're on
Okay.
track.
So Luke Walker.
It's a great name. It's like a country singer name.
So loved that latest show about business as a motorcycle fab shop owner in Sweet Home. It's cool to hear locals talk about it. So he listened to the episode about how you guys, the business, the inside and outside, and the influencer. That one
Right.
kind of went all
Oh.
over that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He goes, one of these days, you need to do some time on all the shit you hate about OBS Fords. Me, I always thought it was weird that the transfer case just hangs out unsupported off the back of the transmission on the half tons. And the oil filter placement pisses me off on the small block trucks as well. Anyways, would love to hear it. I listen every show. Great job, guys.
Well, thank
So
you
what-
for listening, for one.
Thanks, Luke. A Sweet Home guy, a
So-
local guy.
So what do you hate about OBS Fords?
Oh, man, the list is long.
No, it's not. Well, if the brick knows it is. I'm joking, people. I'm just joking.
I hate how easily they wear out door hinge pins.
I think that's operator error.
They.
My
I
Audi
feel
has
like
300,000 miles on it, and the doors don't sag.
it's
at all.
because the door is heavier than what the hinge can hold.
Right.
It really is. Like if you look at the size of the hinge,
Yeah.
it's
and the
not
bushing.
big enough. It's not big enough to hold that structure of that door in a lot of ways. But I think another thing is if you're not pulling on them, getting in and out of the truck, and if you got your striker aligned right, where it's not always binding the door if the striker's doing its job. So if you start on an even playing field where you got new hinges, a new striker, and everything's lined up, I feel like you're ahead of the curve that way. But when they're binding, shutting, or opening, you're using it to get in and out, like forcing it.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't help.
And that's the point I guess I was trying to make about like the truck versus your car. Is the truck, a lot of people use that door even as a little bit of support. Where
Right.
a car, you're kind of getting down into it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying the things
No, I think
that
you're
I
right, though.
dislike.
I think you're right. I think the hinges have like
yeah, I'm not
Oscar.
disagreeing.
Or the bushings. I think the hinges themselves are strong enough. I think the bushings are
Well, the
what-
factory bushings were I think were better than the Dorman ones that we get.
Those are garbage.
Which Oscar started 3D drawing a new hinge. Like he started drawing it, and dude, the kid's fucking wicked smart. Like he's super smart when it comes to that. And he's like, "Hey, should we do it? Because they don't offer a rear hinge. We can't buy a new hinge for the rear doors of a crew cab." So he started drawing one, and I'm like, "Well, so we started going down that road, and maybe there's a better animal." I just think that yes, the doors are a little bit heavy for the structure of that hinge, and I think you're always going to have that unless we make a better mousetrap for the hinge or the bushing. But I think the big thing for me is get everything lined out right. And the other thing, hey, when you do your oil changes, put a little bit of white lithium grease on your bushings.
right.
We don't
Yeah.
lube those things up. Back in the day, I remember my dad had us doing oil changes, Sean and I, and he's always like, we'd do oil changes, grease the chassis, and he'd always make sure we grease the door hinges on every vehicle.
I grease the striker, the latches too on my doors whenever I change the oil in all my rigs. Even shooting like silicone spray.
Yeah.
Always lube those up because it's amazing how much better they work.
Even if you do that in like the keyholes,
Yeah.
Yep.
it
I was
makes a gigantic difference.
I think a little bit of white lithium on those bushings goes a long way in any vehicle.
Yeah. What do you hate about them?
What do I hate about OBS?
EEC systems.
EEC systems suck ass.
That's factory EFI.
If you ever had to deal with the EEC system, I think it sucks ass.
I think that's one of the biggest downfalls to these trucks, as far as them gaining popularity. Is the fuel factory gas fuel injection is kind of a struggle in modern tech.
It's hard to diagnose.
Yeah, they're not OBD2, which so many people are familiar with now, and you can't just plug into it.
You can plug into it, but there's no data.
Right.
And I just don't even my check engine light comes on and then it turns off. I'm like, oh, sweet.
You fixed it.
Sure.
I don't know if
Well, it doesn't store the code anyway if you want it to.
That's the thing. It doesn't store the code. You have to when it happens, you have to keep the key on. You scan it with the light on. I think there's what do I hate about OBS4? I'm trying to think.
Cup holders
completely
suck.
They do, but like I mentioned, Chris and Paul's new invention actually makes the cup holders a lot better.
I'm racking my brain because there's not many things that I hate about them.
No.
I've heard people say
what do you think about
to work on
his comment about the transfer case? Do you think that's a big issue or not?
No, I don't.
No,
because I think that's the way basically every modern vehicle is the transfer case isn't supported. If you're going to do a bunch of wheeling and it's something you're worried about, then put in a beefy transfer case and support it.
But the transfer cases aren't that heavy. They're all aluminum.
They're very light. You can put them in by yourself without a tranny jack. You know,
I don't think there's that really big a problem. I don't really like divorce transfer cases over modern day transfer cases being sandwiched on a tranny by.
The only thing I wouldn't like is that on an off road rig that it's out there not protected.
Yeah, you just do a skid plate.
Sure.
I mean that's normal.
But that's most transfer cases.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think things I hate about an OB. I just love that platform. I love it enough to own as many as I have and start a second business because I love them so much.
Right.
I think I don't like about the brick noses is I don't like steering columns, and I don't like that there's the wiring is a little bit goofy. It's that in between a bull nose and an arrow nose. It's that weird year where Ford kind of we're just gonna do this for a little bit until we get to this arrow nose year. That's what it felt like. When you get into the steering columns, it's 100% bull nose style. They're harder
because you could buy a brick nose in the beginning with a carburetor. And by the end, they were fuel injected.
Yeah, it's
the same truck.
If you ever dealt with early 80s fuel injection, it sucked.
That's my favorite.
Oh, it's great, right? Feedback carburetors, bring them on. Yeah.
Or the old Bosch systems.
Yes,
the
please.
Mechanical fuel injection.
Well, that's way better than a feedback carburetor. Way better, night and day. But I really think, I don't really hate a lot.
I have one.
Yes.
Tailgate straps. Because they get twisted and stick out in between the light and the tailgate.
Well, just get new straps. They sell them.
I know.
You can get new straps.
I'm trying to come up with things here.
I just can't think of a lot.
I can't think of a lot either.
that I hate about an OBS Ford. I
could go one-piece drive shaft to get rid of the carrier bearing, but you got to have a large diameter. But it's not.
Okay, I'll say this. I figured out the one thing. Their window trim around the front window. If the engineers actually had a brain on how to make it clip in there without being a nightmare.
Oh, yes.
The window trim around the front of our OBS Fords is a see you next Tuesday to remove and install without denting it. There we go. Right there, people. The one thing that.
Things they did right. Oh. How about things they did right?
Wait, one more. Body mounts. The OG body mounts. If there was an engineer that could have hopped in a DeLorean and went to the future to realize that the bottom nut spacer washer, whatever, the molded piece all together,
it doesn't pull through,
would bond to the rubber. If they could have seen that, I would have been nice. Like they could have seen the future, because that is a disaster on our OBS.
The rear cab mounts,
they suck. That's a bad day.
And the fuel tank's in the way.
Yes.
Yeah, pulling the fuel tanks. I mean, all the things that I hate are just like annoying parts to work on, like, or they're just not updated. Like, I don't like the factory brake system. I like Hydro Boost better. You know,
we fixed that. We gave you a Hydro Boost.
There's all those things, but generally speaking, like,
they're not that bad.
There's not a lot that I can really hate on.
I really like the
because the things you don't like have solutions, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like, I don't mean like solution,
OBS
but like
solutions.
No, answers. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say. So what do you like about them? Like, one thing I like is how easy it is to do heater core.
Oh,
stupidly easy.
Jack has my buddy Jack has a 2001, I think, Audi A4 wagon. Heater core went out. You have to remove the entire dash to get to the heater core and replace the $20 heater core. OBS Ford, flip the glove box down, pull the little cover off, slide the new heater core in. Done. It's like a 15-minute job.
The hardest part about doing an OBS heater core is getting the dum-dum or the jute off the around the outlet. You're like, this is the worst part ever. You're
Somebody took a caulking gun and just
other than that,
fill this thing up.
I would say the thing I love about the OBS Ford so much, besides the look of the body style, it's one of the most iconic body styles ever, because it mixes square. Like, I'm such a visual guy. If it puts the squareness of it, like a square body Chev, and a little bit of roundness all together to make it work. Like I was thinking about that the other day when I was looking at Toyota, where they're square cutting their fenders, and GM and Chevrolet are square cutting their fenders. Where Ford, like back then, they did a round fender, but then there's so much squareness to their body lines, which Oscar and I love about when we go design parts that are external. You kind of fit that mold, right? Like, it's a very unique blend of both round and square, which is I love about the most. Now, our Super Duties, that's why I think I love the new aluminum duties, just because they brought that back. You have round fenders. They went to square features, where I didn't like my dad's 2001 7.3 Super Duty as much, because it's more rounded.
They're very bubbly.
Very bubbly, which if you look at bubbly vehicles, they just look bigger, and they look like they don't look proportionate. When you square stuff off, it looks way cooler.
I think automakers started to get really confused in like the early 2000s, late 90s. They were just like,
I think you have an ebb and flow. I think you see manufacturers do this. They go square, and like they're all on the same page, right? Because if you look at new Tacomas, everyone's squared off. New GMC Colorados, new Chevrolet trucks, they're all going square cut. Everyone's doing that, like, and then like
Cybertrucks.
Oh, very good. But I think then you'll see it come back around, right? And they're like, as that wears off, where the populace has seen enough, like some guy goes, I'm gonna round this off more, and I was like, oh my god, it's all fucking revolutionary. Like, no, they did it back in the 50s, and then it went square, and they brought it back. Like, it's like an ebb and flow to me of designers. Yeah. So. But the big thing about OBS Fords I love the most, besides that, is that they're the easiest to manipulate in powertrains, to throw whatever you want underneath them. Look, you put a Duramax in one.
Yeah.
Cummins it, 7.3 it.
Duramax fits better than a 7.3.
Guys are putting Godzillas in it, or like, like, I think it's a platform that is easy to manipulate. It doesn't get, like, you hear people with square body Chevs do Cummins in it, and it gets really pain when you try to put an intercooler in front of it. Same thing with bull noses. Like, putting a Cummins in a bull nose, there's no real estate for an intercooler up front.
I've done it.
Yeah.
have to really trim.
You gotta make it look.
grill.
You gotta like get that bitch like super thin up front.
It's thin.
Yes,
There's
like
not a ton of.
What'd you use in that
structural
one? I
work.
remember that truck.
The same 7.3 intercooler.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
so. To me, it's like the Aeronose
Bit
OBSs
AC?
and brick noses.
no AC.
No,
But
see,
made room for AC.
So
I
there was
wanted
room.
to put AC in it, and he was like, "No, this is just for going to my cabin and back."
Sure.
So
I mean, I just think that platform is that our Aeronose platform and Bricknose platform are the most easy to manipulate with other engine packages.
yeah, it's really hard to say, like, not to be too biased, but there's not a lot that I really dislike about him.
Even if they sucked 100% under the hood or dealing with them, the body style is enough for me to look past any of that. So
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's me though. I'm sure other people look at them and go, "Those are the ugliest trucks ever." And
No, I mean, I've said before,
right,
I can't think of a time, and I don't know everybody, that I've met someone and they've seen one like those are. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
like those. Everybody's
Even non-car people
Yeah.
are like, "That's a
even
cool
Chevy
truck."
people.
Oh yeah,
they're not Ford. They're like, I'm not a Ford guy, but those trucks look good.
But you know what's funny
you
though?
hear it all the time.
I was never a Chevrolet Cat Eye guy. I didn't like the Cat Eye Chevys
'em
until
now.
now, and I see a Cat Eye and I'm like, "Ooh,
They're coming of age because they're
Yeah.
getting to be older. They're the 20-year mark, right?
I want an LB7 or LBZ.
well, even a single cab short bed 2-wheel drive in the weeds, Cat Eye's pretty good looking
Yeah.
truck."
They're good trucks.
Yeah, so like Tristan's had a Cat Eye that was awesome. Ron's always talking about Cat Eye Chevy stuff, and I'm like, dude, that's really like growing on me, the Cat Eye Chevy. So I think maybe it's a thing where I don't know. I was always attracted to the OBS Fords, the Aeronose stuff when I was little. So I don't know. Maybe it's as you get older, you might be
I
attracted
remember
to different stuff.
when my dad went to buy a new truck when we first moved up here, and it was between a 6-liter, an 03 6-liter, and an 03 Chevy. And I liked the Ford so much more. And he went with the Chevy Duramax. And after, growing up, I'm like, now I like the Duramax, but even like riding in the Super Duty, it just felt more like a truck. And
Yeah.
the Chevy felt more like a car.
Well,
It felt like
Chevrolets
you're
have
in
always-
your mom's Suburban.
I always feel like Chevrolets have always rode better. They had a better, softer
rode
suspension.
So nice.
Versus a
Yeah.
straight axle. Interior is always a little bit better in a Chevrolet, like in the sense of like how it fit and it was more comfy. I don't think it lasted any longer though.
No.
It always seemed to be the
Similar.
first to break down,
The
but
seats driver's seats were always,
they were junk
Oh,
after a
they-
while.
Yeah.
especially the bottom cushion. Everyone
Yeah.
that we've had at work, it's just
The bolsters just wear out.
part of that's laziness of just sliding in and out too. But they're just like, seems like that cushion's like an inch and a half thick is all. It's
Yeah.
like there's nothing there.
It's still though, I just think the Aeronose OBS and even Bricknose trucks and Bullnose Fords are just I think they're one of the coolest body styles ever in the sense of, the shape, the form, and the functionality of them.
Very iconic.
Yeah. But same people like Clint or what's his face from Keep It Classic. He's into the
All the old stuff.
all the old stuff, which, each to his own, I suppose.
I had
One more
a
question.
couple more questions
Okay.
from somebody else. Alex says, I love the podcast. All the knowledge you guys share has helped me a ton on my truck. I have
Awesome.
I have a few questions for the podcast to help me with my truck.
Okay, let's do it.
Maybe we can help somebody else out too. I'm setting up my California 9773 crew cab short bed for camping.
Split shots.
Lots of highway driving, then a little off-road. I have the Carrick rear leaf kit,
Oh,
which is
really?
great. And the Carrick Dana 60 kit is going in next.
Hell yeah.
Great purchase.
I'm hoping to road trip this to the No BS Truck Show.
Love to have you.
Any tips or lessons learned doing an E4OD to ZF6 swap? Some people use a tuner and use the auto harness, and some swap the PCM harness, I'm assuming to a manual. Any fitment issues with the ZF6? And then he has a second question after that.
Well, you know about this fitment with the ZF6.
Yeah, John's familiar with those.
Okay, so we had a ZF6 cross member that we had developed on my Cummins converted truck. Sold a bunch of them to 7.3 guys and Cummins guys, and they worked great. But it was a pain in the ass to manufacture. A lot of manual work and not a lot of CNC work. So we discontinued it and then recently re-released it. It's all CAD drawn. And we developed it on a 7.3 truck that was an auto. Put the ZF6 in, There's no cab clearance issues. It bolts right in, and we use the ZF5 master cylinder.
Okay.
And ZF5 line, and tap the roll pin out and put a ZF6 slave on it. Bled it.
Good to go.
Works really good with our cross member. There's driveline modifications you got to make. You got to change the transfer. Got to change the transfer case to a Super Duty transfer case. If you have an electronic shift one, you can switch it over to manual shift or get. I can't remember. It's 271, 273. One of them's electronic, one's not.
So your OBS transfer case will not bolt to that ZF6.
I don't think so.
Okay, so
you need the
you need both.
Duty one.
Okay,
yeah, not that complicated.
Sure, because I bet that transfer case they use for a million years. Like,
not
a million, but several years.
No, definitely a million.
Okay, million.
Yeah,
years.
a million years.
9.1, got it.
And then as far as tuning goes, we literally just there under the dash there is a harness that is supposed to plug into the clutch pedal switch that has a cap in it. You put the clutch pedal in. You can get them on Amazon, believe it or not.
Like the clutch pedal assembly?
A brand new one. Yeah.
Brand new one on
Amazon? I did not know that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Put that in, get a new clutch switch, take that plug out, plug it in. All of a sudden, your clutch switch works. Didn't do any tuning to the ECU whatsoever.
You didn't? Interesting.
No, like Hydra or anything like that. Like no tuner that manipulated the PCM.
I think it's when you go the other way?
No.
It reacts totally normal.
Because it usually has a goofy idle, if not, I thought.
No goofy idle.
Oh, where they'll hunt, or they'll surge a whoom.
Yeah, we've experienced that when we did a swap. What did we do?
The thing with this truck, though, and I can't remember all the details, I could call the guy and ask him, but it was heading to another shop when we were done.
Okay.
To have like a T4 kit and all new injectors and new tunes done. I'm like, look, man, we're not going to mess with, as long as it runs and drives properly, I'm not going to mess with the tunes because you're going to go and have all that stuff done anyways. And so it was kind of a gamble. I did a bunch of reading online, see what would work, and everything was fine. Like, just fired it up, took it for a drive.
What'd you do? Did you do anything with the old, on the steering column, the old shifter and the gauge, like to make it look more like a manual swap?
Well, I asked him, like, do you want us to swap out the column? Like, he's like, no, I'll deal with that myself.
Can you just change parts to eliminate the shifter, like with a cover and just pull it out on those?
You get rid of the shift tube and then you do need the lock assembly does have, so, when you take the key out and there's a switch.
You gotta like hit it with your thumb to release it.
Yeah. Other than that, the columns are, that's what I tell them. Like the OBS forwards are so, like you said, that plug underneath for your neutral safety switch. We did the opposite on the blue truck because that was a manual truck. Oh. We switched to auto.
So you put the plug in it?
Yep. You put the plug in it, and all it does is it bypasses it. It makes it so it eliminates that circuit.
Yeah.
That's what I love about these trucks. And the steering column is totally universal. You can take the only thing that's goofy is if it's a tilt column versus a fixed column.
Yeah.
That's the only, but you can take a manual column, make it an auto, and an auto column a manual.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem too bad then.
No.
It's really quite simple. And for anybody that's wondering, like the ZF5, all of the trucks have on the cab, auto and manual are the same. So they just have a block off plate for where the master cylinder goes. So you literally just take that out and you bolt up a factory ZF5 master cylinder. You bolt in the factory ZF5 clutch pedal. It's so simple to do a manual conversion on these.
Two other things.
Yeah.
Tunnel cover.
Well, you can either try to source yourself one from a manual, or you just take your cutoff wheel and you cut a hole out, just like a manual has.
Are the E4OD ones are taller, aren't they?
No.
Like
they're the same.
I know
They're
there was
same.
There were some I thought that were lower, but they're all the same height.
I remember
They're
them
all
always being the same.
One just has a hole cut in the middle of it with 4 screw holes, and one does not.
What do you use for a clutch? Like a 99 to 0373 truck clutch?
Yeah.
Or Super Duty?
No, you can. Yeah, you use a ZF6 clutch.
That's what I was saying, for like a Super Duty with the 7.3 and a ZF6.
Yes.
That application.
Yep.
Okay.
And you use, to reiterate, ZF5 Master and line to a ZF6 slave. You just tap the roll pin out, pull the line out, stick it in the ZF6 slave, tap the roll pin back in, good to go.
Why is ZF6 over ZF5?
The ZF5 slave like snaps into these two ears.
Oh, that's right.
And a ZF6 slave, you stick in and turn.
It's such a better system than
that
than
clip
the
on the ZF5 is
sucks.
terrible.
It sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the question again about something else, though, just for people that wonder.
Okay.
Why would you want to replace your ZF5 with a ZF6? Isn't the overdrive ratio the same?
Overdrive ratio is the same. The gear splits are a little bit better.
I've heard 3/4 is where it's at.
Yeah,
between
the
third
3/4 split, like having that extra gear really is a lot nicer. And the strength of the ZF6 is a lot better.
It's a bigger transmission physically.
Oh, it has a pump
Yeah.
in it, and you can run a cooler.
Yeah.
I personally would not recommend running an external cooler on a ZF6, especially if you live in a cold climate, because you feel like you're getting all this like better cooling capacity. You don't need it. It's actually more annoying because the ZF6 is a notchy transmission, just out of the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let alone when it's cold.
Hmm.
It's even more notchy. So I like to run them to the factory radiator transmission cooler so that your engine actually helps warm up your
Preheat it.
transmission
Sure.
fluid.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
And it's all kind of set up with it if you're going from an auto to a ZF6.
And it's so simple.
You got most of the plumbing already.
All the plumbing's there.
Yeah.
And you just go straight, like, don't run an external cooler. I've ran one. I've had a temperature sensor in the transmission to monitor the temps. And I put like a big Durali external cooler on with a fan and everything.
Overkill.
I could never even get the transmission hot enough. And this was towing my 35-foot, tandem dually gooseneck with 2 cars on it over a pass. And tranny was not getting hot enough to get the cooler fan to even turn on.
Too much.
Wow.
And in the wintertime, it was so annoying because the fluid would stay so cold, the tranny would never warm up and shift, smooth.
That's a great idea to run it to like go into the engine coolant though to warm it.
Yeah.
That's
So
a great idea.
that's my input on that.
Do you start? I haven't driven a ZF6 for a while. Do you start them in first or second?
Second. The other cool part about a ZF6 is if you're stuck, reverses over towards you and forward.
Like a big truck transmission.
Yeah. And then first is straight down from that. Like you have to go through the detent over towards you. So if you're stuck and you want to rock it, like reverse to first, unlike a ZF5 where you're swinging it
all the way over,
you can kind of go back and forth. It's a minor thing, but the other nice part is when you are driving it without a trailer, you're not hooked up to anything. It feels like you're driving a normal 5-speed, like first, second, or second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like it's not. It feels like you're in the normal position, where first is over towards you, or second is over towards you and up, to where like in a normal vehicle that doesn't have a granny gear, it's the same thing.
I just wonder if there's like a misconception from people though. They're like, it's
everybody's
a
like,
6-speed, and it's like
I get an extra overdrive. No, you don't. Overdrive's the same,
right?
Like,
or
really?
within like 0.01 of the same.
So what would be the main reasons for converting from a ZF5 to a ZF6? Would you say? I would say if you're towing a lot because of the gear splits.
Towing a lot for gear splits
and strength for extra power, right?
That's it.
Better clutch options, probably.
No,
not
really. Same.
You're
They both run a 13-inch flywheel.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't know if they had better like dual disc.
Technology for clutches really is like I can't see them being different for a ZF6 versus VF5. But
yeah, you can get the same clutches.
What's the other question, Kenneth?
His second question from Mr. Alex is about something that we talked about last time I was here, and it was, how do you feel about 35-inch tires on stock Alcoas, which are a 16x7? I ask because most chain tire shops won't go past a 33 or a 285, 75, 16. Is it better to get a wider rim for safety, handling, and wear with a 35? If so, what's your wheel and recommendations for a classic-ish look with a 35?
Can I dive in on this, Devin?
Have at it, bud.
Yes, it is a better option to get a wider wheel and a better wheel in that scenario. running a wide 35 on a narrow wheel balloons the tire out, and it cups more and it wears funky. The other thing that we've found that, just to be completely transparent, is we had a customer install our Dana 60 coilover kit, steering kit, new steering box, all at one time. And at the same time, he put new 35-inch Falcon AT3s on his Alcoas. Finishes it, has incredible drivability issues as far as steering goes. Like, so bad that he felt unsafe to have his family in it, dropped it off at a shop and said, like, something is wrong with this truck. So my initial thought was like, ball joints are way too tight.
Memory steer
issues. They went through the entire thing. They had the truck for like a month and a half. They said they, fixed it, good to go. He comes in, picks it up, drives the exact same way. Sent me videos, and it is like terrifying to drive. And I'm anxious. We've sold tons of these kits, and this is the one guy with a big issue like this. I'm like, I'm freaking out. What's the issue? I'm like, dude, I don't know where we're at. And so, he's working with the shop on it. Finally, he's like, they go through like, so what all was done, when you did this? Well, I also put new tires on, 35s on Alcoas. They swapped the front tires for the rear, took it out for a drive, drove flawlessly. One of the Falcons has an issue in it. Either it's coming unbanded or I don't know what, or out of round.
Okay.
And long story short, basically it turned out to be a tire issue on stock Alcoas, and it could have been a faulty tire, because I've seen a lot of 35s on stock Alcoas without a problem. This one could have just been a faulty tire from Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
But Falcon won't warranty it because they say you have to have a minimum of an 8-inch rim. And he knew that going into it. So he's like, yeah, I can't call him on it. But that is one issue. Like, yes, can you do it? Like, JP has 35s on his Alcoas with our suspension, drives great. No
so what
issues.
Did he just get another tire? Or did he change wheels?
He swapped wheels to the same wheels as the guy from Just Diesels had on his. I can't remember what they were. They're super cool.
Is that the blue and white truck?
Yes.
Oh, they're Trail Readies.
Trail Readies, polished centers with black rings. Super cool wheels. Truck drives great now.
That's good to know because I saw a post from him a while back about just got all this done and he was super stoked and then he said something about the drivability and I was like, we're friends, right? And I'm like, John makes a pretty good part. Like, geez,
I spent hours on the phone with him. Like,
probably lost sleep over it, right?
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Like, the last thing I ever want is an unhappy customer. I'm like, I'm for sure losing sleep over it.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, and I don't know for sure that it was the wheel tire combo. I know that it was the tires. But all of that being said, running a 35 on a 7-inch wide wheel or a wide 35 on a 7-inch wide wheel can cause issues, and tire manufacturers don't want to warranty it because they know that. So to be on the safe side, I would recommend going with at least a wider wheel for running that size tire.
So something that has a classic look that's a 16x8 or wider, what would you choose, John?
Oof.
Or Devin? To me, the go-to is
I like KMCs.
Well, like for the classic look, like a similar to Noco, I would say like a Mickey Thompson.
Mickey T.
Probably
Mickey
about
Thompson.
Yeah, that's about where you're only find. I think people out there.
You can find other not factory Alcoas, but is there other 16x8 Alcoas 8 on 6.5 that Alcoa made?
I don't know.
You know what's funny is my dad actually found a factory, like a Alcoa, like a real Alcoa wheel back in the day. I don't know if they make them anymore. Made by Alcoa. It actually looked better. Same whole design, everything.
It just didn't have the notches for the center cap.
Correct.
I've seen them.
That's what the Centurion had on it.
And I like that look. I don't know if you can still get those, though. It was on Alcoa's website.
Sure. Yeah.
What's your stance on it? I just wanted to share that story because when you asked about 35s on Alcoas.
I just think that if you are ignorant enough to realize that a wheel is that old, you're going to have fucking problems with it if you want it to be reliable. That's why I will never pull on welds. That's why my Super Duty will never have weld super singles on it. That's why I feel like a wheel at some point, its age is going to come into. Like, if you're like, I want to be like reliable and pull all my shit across the United States on a 30-year-old plus wheel. Well, you're just asking for problems, in my opinion. But I just look at like, there's at some point things do wear out, as much as I hate to say it. And a wheel is that's your main contact point. And
second to the tire.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's why Kenny's like, you should put those weld super singles on your Super Duty. And I'm like, yeah, it would look cool, but
it would
look sick. But would I want to pull my gooseneck and wait, or my boat? I just don't think at some point I rely on a wheel of that age that's been literally rolling down the road for all these years. I just don't trust. I won't trust that. I would say there's so many other wheels out there. Yes, I'll put a weld wheel on like Lisa's truck or something like that we're just going to take out and not pull serious weight with.
Right.
I'm not going to drive it cross country.
Right.
I'll drive it to McMinnville Cruise or back and forth to town, but I'm not going to rely on it, I guess is what I'm saying. I would not rely on a wheel of that age that's had tires taken on and off of it by Les Schwab grease monkeys or by anyone, or that maybe ran loose on the lug nuts, ran loose one time, or might have a flaw in it, or that's my opinion. Like I said, I don't quote. I mean, like, that's just my opinion.
You bring up an interesting point that I just thought about, Devin, and I don't want to sound like Mr. Debbie Downer, safety first, but it is a real deal. We're talking vehicles that are going down the road that we're driving, and there's other people on the road, and safety. And it's really kind of mind-blowing as you meet people and talk to people, and you see people on the internet, on social media, posting what they're doing. And, you know, I'm not going to tell them necessarily always what to do or not to do. It's their choice, their prerogative. But like, when you start making sketchy decisions about how you modify or repair your vehicle, whatever vehicle it is, whether it's running ancient super swampers, old welds, or, you know, a half-ass repair to the steering or brake system, like, vehicle controls are a real deal. And, you know, people are like, I've done that for years. Yeah, because you've gotten away with it for years, but it takes one time of a tire coming off and, God forbid, killing a family, and your life is over, man. I don't care who you are, like that. And even if you don't go to jail for it, let's say, you have to live with that. And that's the stuff I think about. I mean, I have a family. You guys have families. But it's like, I don't want to be that guy nor go there. And so, yeah, there's some stuff that I'm like, man, that looks like a pretty cool kind of sketchy thing to do, but I'm not.
Well, think about this. The spacers on spacers, or spacers in general.
Yeah, that spacer, wheel spacers is an interesting subject.
They're not as sketchy as they used to be, but
it's still, I think there's a lot of misconception. The quality of spacer.
There's a lot of shoddy work around them that makes them unsafe.
But then you see people like, oh, my truck's so wide, I have spacers on top of spacers.
Yeah.
Sure.
And your bearings are hanging. I mean, like, it's
just getting torched.
Right. Or there's,
and you think the people are just ignorant and don't understand what they're doing, or they don't care?
I think there's a lot of misconception on how far you're putting the force of the vehicle outside of that wheel bearing or that ball joint, or what you're structurally putting on the studs for that spacer, or where was the spacer made? China? Did you get off of wish.com? Was it American made steel or aluminum?
Studs.
Where
the studs made?
There's so much variables with that. And same thing with the wheel.
Did you use Loctite? You torque them?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, red Loctite.
Did you retorque? Because people, you always buy wheels and tire, wherever you decide to go, and like, retorque your lug nuts, retorque your suspension. It's like, people just throw that out the window.
Like, you should be doing a bolt check on things.
I keep on waiting for a SEMA build to come apart and kill someone on the freeway or highway.
I don't want that to happen.
And then I don't either. But once one or two of those happen and the mainstream media gets it, it's going to be lifted trucks are off limits. It's like the gun control issue, right? One or two.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
I am too. When I see these SEMA trucks rolling down the road or whatever, like not just SEMA trucks, you see all kinds of stuff rolling down the freeway. And just shoddy, and you can see the dog legging going, walking sideways or whatever. And like, hey, the shear, like, it's probably the center pin's broken off that rear end, and they've been driving that for years.
I like I said, I didn't want to bring this up to be like, oh, we're downers, or we're gonna say like there's a bunch of just stupid people everywhere, but it's like a real thing.
No, safety.
And some
really
of these
important.
people that are doing this stuff and just kind of blowing it off, like, need to be checked. I think it sometimes, like, because you're doing them a favor, even though you might sound like an asshole for doing it. It's like, I'm on the same road as you, and so is my family.
Yeah.
And Like, pay attention. And if you don't understand something, ask, right? Like, find a reputable source. If you don't know how to do something, there is
And if
a lot of
things
resources
start
out
to
there.
feel sketchy while you're driving, stop. Like,
Oh,
pull
yeah.
over. Take a look at things.
I think, trust me, I like shit big and wide and tall and this and that, but you have to use common sense, I think. And like, we had a kid that worked at the shop a short time as like an intern, and he brings his OBS Ford in. And he's got double stack spacers on the front.
Oh, you don't?
No, I generally don't. No.
I got triples.
Oh, damn, big dog, super wide. You like, do you have rubber bands on that too? I just think that mentality of people like saying, "Oh, it's cool, so I'm gonna send it." And that's I don't want to say it's a young kid thing. I just think it's a not knowing what you're dealing with. And when a wheel comes off and goes down the freeway or highway or in town, it can really fuck shit up.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think people realize that.
They don't.
No.
I don't think they do. That's the thing is
And a 16, like,
it's reactive. They don't think it's a big deal because it hasn't happened to them, right?
yeah. And I think, like you said about like this wheel situation, like, yeah, it looks cool and all, but like if you're just gonna like rip up and down, back to home or to work or Friday nights or just on the weekends, and right, rock an Alco on a 35 all day long. But you feel like, hey, I want to be reliable and tow weight from, part of the United States to the other part of the United States. I think you're asking for trouble on a wheel of that age is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think I'd pick a
wheel of that size.
Right. And the other thing is, like, if you do break down, would it be nice if you had a modern wheel? If it did get messed up, you could just go buy another one instead of having to buy try to source out an old wheel.
That's why I quit running welds on my Super Duty was
If it gets messed up, then what are you going to do?
they're made of unobtainium. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't replace them. And I was like, I'm going to start driving this every day for work.
And there's no other wheel, and Kenny and I will say this all day long, there's no other wheel that we like more than a weld wheel. We're like, I almost sell my firstborn for a good set of weld super singles, on a 12 wide. But at some point, you have to realize that's just
They're a novelty now.
Yeah.
Like, they're just something that's cool to have. It's not.
Well,
and there's probably people that would tell us till they're blue in the face the opposite. Like, I've been running them for years every day on my rig and
Sure.
towed with them and never had a problem. It's like, great. Good for you, man. But this is just.
That's how we roll, like, no pun intended, but I would put them on, like I said, there's welds on that blue truck we just finished up,
Oh, sure.
and so, like, sure, but there's a lot of other wheel manufacturers that make cool stuff. So,
This makes me want to put my super singles up for sale.
free country, bud. Do what you got to do. All right, moving on. By the way, how much are those?
We're at an hour and 45.
Well, you had one more question, didn't you?
Oh, dude.
No, that was it.
That was it?
Those are pretty much the two I had.
Okay.
What was his name again?
That was Alex.
Alex.
Well, thanks, Alex, for the
Brown.
questions.
Good questions.
Profile's private. I can't show you his truck. So.
I hope we answered something, or John did. He has
Yeah.
more knowledge than I do on the ZF swap. So, should we hit marketplace real quick before I scatter?
It's up to you.
I'm down. Kenny,
C1.
let's do it. I see you have a boat up
Do
there.
I get to pick? No.
Is this yours?
We're not picking that boat.
I missed-
Yes, it is mine. This is like my just random today's picks.
The
page.
black F-150 with the flare side like attracts me big time. Like that's pretty cool looking truck.
I really like this.
Okay, so what we're dealing with 92 F-150 regular cab short bed for $13,500. That's a big number, $180K. What's unique about this truck is, like I said, it's a black flare side. Flare side's
No, it's
like,
not.
What?
It's a Frere.
A flare side, yeah. Oh, it's really unique.
It's
so,
rare.
Seller's description: 92 Ford F-150 Frere side bed, all maintenance on time. Interesting. 50. Please let me know if you have any more questions about it.
Well,
Okay,
I have
great.
lots more.
I have lots more questions. This is kind of cool. It's not terrible yet. We're just going through the pictures. Its interior's looking okay. You guys know the interior color's different in 92. Everyone knows that, right? We're on the same page there.
Dark gray.
Okay.
Pacific Wonderland.
I love those plates.
I do too.
I like that the bumper's not all dented up. Oh, check out the exhaust, how it exits. That's pretty cool.
Ooh, I do like that. I
Boom.
like
It's
that.
like a boom tube.
Yeah.
I like the wheels and tires, honestly.
You
I'm
like
not hating on this truck
radial
at all.
TA BFGs.
The paint looks
Yeah.
good from the pictures, right? Can we all agree upon that?
Yeah, it's all
Mhm.
paint match. Bumpers are paint match. It's got the lower valence on the front bumper.
So
It's kind of got a lightning look to it.
it does, but
Big.
what's cool is it is an original flare side truck. At least the badge is on there for
And it
flare
has
side.
the steps, like
Yeah,
Kenny was
like-
talking about.
Yep, the
Was that
steps are all
last
still
episode?
there.
Yeah, how they match the bottom of the bed.
Yeah,
This is a cool truck.
dude,
100%.
This is a
This is a truck you buy and you put a little bit of money and time into, and you make it a street truck.
Look at the bumper where the ball mount is. How it like
comes out.
Is that a factory bumper or an aftermarket for a flare side?
No, I think that's a factory Ford bumper for that truck.
But look at that.
It's cool.
They like
that's a
paint
nice.
but it looks good.
Isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's a factory bumper.
The top
Is the flare side tailgate different?
narrower.
Yes, narrower.
Wow.
A lot narrower.
I know we've had there's no inner fender wells, right?
Yeah.
But people
Is that a
have asked
little
us,
is that a little box on the inside? You see that inside?
Yes,
There's like a little
I was
storage
wondering
compartment.
about that.
I've never. You know what? We need to buy this truck so we can
Yeah, you do.
examine it.
if I could find just a bed, I'd put one together.
That's a cool truck.
Dude, this thing is.
Okay, so here's the question for you
Pretty
people: Is $13,500 a fair price for this truck with a 180K 5.0 truck?
If it ran and drove good, like seemed to be, relatively turnkey, with a little bit of.
It's a unique looking truck.
Look at the stance, the rear tires. Look how they're wider than the front ones, kind of the old school hot rod look.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's pretty close.
On price?
He's not far off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been up for 4 weeks. I mean, this thing needs bags, some sort of supercharged.
It could use beams. You could use beams in the front, get it low, drop her down. I don't like the wheel and tire combo. That's me.
Yeah,
I would
go a different one.
I do something where I like the tire and fender to be flush. Like,
Yep.
I don't want it to stick out like a 4-wheel drive truck. I think, dude, the flare side thing's growing on me hardcore, Kenny. I take it back what I said about him. I do.
Next is brick
It's
noses.
time. Let's do one.
I just gotta find one. Like a bed.
There you go, Kenny. We just found you one.
No,
Yeah,
I
Kenny.
need a bed. Just a
This
bed.
is out of the Kenny budget.
Yes, I know. Trust me.
Just another truck I'd
I
like
think
to
I think Greg actually has a
can
flare
do
side
it.
bed.
buy. No,
Does he really?
Yeah, I think he's told me he got an extra one. He found an extra one.
he did. He had it for sale, and then he said he had somebody else coming to get it, so I backed off.
I think a crew cab with a flare side look cool.
Oh, yeah.
There's
That's
one-
what Grant wants to do.
Yeah, flare side crew cab short bed would look sick. That look cool.
Funny is I brought that up years ago in one of the Facebook groups, and I just got belittled for it.
That's
like
because
how
it's a
terrible it
Facebook
was.
group.
It's Facebook, man.
Drew, why
It was
would you
probably
even
like 8 years ago. It was like a burnt orange crew cab, 92 to 97 truck with the flare side. It looks so good.
And when all the
Mhm.
people came out of the woodwork with torches and pitchforks, gonna like crucify you for that comment.
Yeah, the experts.
The experts are like, why would you do that to work truck? You can use it for work, and that flare side bed's not a work thing.
You want to do one more?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's fine.
Do we need to? What do we want to search?
Just scroll down. I'm
Yeah.
sure something's gonna pop up on here.
Yeah, keep going. Oh, ugh.
I've been shopping for forklifts a little bit lately.
Yeah. What's that market like? Oh,
Oh, that's
1,500.
just wheels. Never mind.
Oh.
Just wheels.
John
It's
searches.
it's like-
Whoa,
it's-
vending machine, nice, local, Vancouver, Snapple. Is that what you're looking for, John? A
I've
vending
never
machine?
shopped for a vending machine.
Oh,
You want a
damn it.
Viper?
No.
Why are you looking at Vipers,
I've
John?
never shopped for a Viper.
John
I'm also in the
searches-
market for a lathe.
John searches is unique.
Yeah.
The Volvo 240 with the body kit looks cool.
Doesn't have to be an OBS. Ooh, an XJ. You checking out XJs, huh?
No,
No,
the
I
CW
have
Wood
not.
Wooding speeder. What is that? Rail car?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
let's check it
rail
out.
car.
Could you imagine going and buying that? And like, okay, let's go on the tracks. And we just like happen to put that on the railroad tracks and we take it for a rip.
This has Paul Rutledge written all over it.
Go ahead and tell these people, Devin, what we're looking at.
Okay, what we're looking at here is a CD Wooding speeder. I've never heard of this before. $5,000.
It's a rail car.
It's a rail car. It's like I would say it's probably dimensionally, I'm gonna say 3 to 4 feet long, and probably as wide as a railroad car would be, I guess.
That would make sense.
I would think so too. CW Wooding's rail car that my grandfather had customized for excursions. Sealed cab, turnable.
Turntable.
Oh, turntable. Thank you, Kenny. Reading is tough for me. Should still be in spec. 56 from wheel rib to rib. Hasn't seen a track since being modified. Well, that's positive. Not sure original motor, but thinking it's bigger than what it came with. Shouldn't take much to get it back on the tracks where it belongs. Would be great for someone who rides in groups of speeders. I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
No trailer anymore. Asking 5,000 K OBO or for the CD Wooding's rail car. No trades. Definitely something you'll have to come check out.
Are those like Super Duty wheels? They look like Super Duty wheels.
They do.
I don't think they are, but
but I didn't. Is this a thing that people put these on the tracks and go check things out?
Like you can go and like ride the rails in groups.
Right. Wouldn't it suck if you're like, I don't.
Heck?
That's cool.
It's way cool.
Just a little like.
It's got
it's a Tecumseh
alternator.
It's a little Tecumseh.
It does. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm more curious. Like, where do you ride? Where do you use this at?
You just hop on the local railroad.
I mean, I think
You
you'd want to have
pull
your.
up to a railroad crossing and you unload and you just start going.
So, like, wouldn't it be like awesome if like you pull up next to a train, and you're like, got this bad boy off a marketplace, it doesn't burn out.
What's the retail on one of those bad boys?
$5,000.
I
More
just
than
picture
you can
like
afford.
the window rolled down. You're like bumping tunes. You're like, hey, you pull up to like a big locomotive. What do you got in that thing?
Interesting.
This is my speeder, and you just like do a wheelie with it on the tracks.
Dude, could you imagine being on the tracks like choo-choo, going along and then seeing a locomotive coming at you full steam?
You're like, shit, honey, put it in reverse. Well, I'm just like, wouldn't it suck if you're like, hey, we're doing a speeder group ride drive. What do you call it? Drive or ride? What would you call that?
I think
Rail drive?
a rail ride.
Okay, so we're doing a rail ride. So here's like, I don't want to be last, honey. We got to get there early. Like, shit, there's people there we're last, and you can't get in front of everyone. You're not going to pass anyone.
Look at the parking brake.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like step your foot on it and it just frictions against
But you know what?
the wheels.
I bet there's a lot of rail lines that are abandoned that you can see some cool shit.
I bet you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
You know, like there's a tracks
There's
out.
a lot of. I sitting in bed one night, was just bored.
Okay.
Not really bored,
Anyway.
but just like watching YouTube, and there was one about like the history of the railroads and how many abandoned railroads there are in the U.S. because of how the railroad system killed the private train transport
Okay.
for like personnel, like Amtrak and whatnot. Like, oh, this sounds interesting. So I watched it and it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of abandoned railroad around the US that is not used anymore because it doesn't really it's not in the main shipping transport lanes.
I guess that makes sense. But it would be
And
cool.
think
Like,
about how hard those people worked to build that. Like it was.
oh, bridges and just everything. It'd suck. It would
Yeah.
not be fun. Blowing up rocks to build a bridge over it, shit like that.
It's wild.
But you know what? With this car right here for $5,000, you can go explore that.
We
shit.
have to look at YouTube later and see what these things are all about.
Yeah, I kind of feel like joining the
You know what's funny?
the
You
groups
could.
of
Could
speeders.
you?
We all need another hobby, right?
Well, here's a
Sure.
question for you. Listen to this. Technically, you could drink and
And rail.
rail.
We've done it before.
You could literally make a mixed drink. I mean, like, let Jesus take the wheel. All you have to do is make sure you don't slam into anyone.
Take the rail.
Yeah, take the rail.
Oh,
All right,
man.
one more.
One more.
Okay,
Think
what
we
else?
need one more? Yeah, one more. We'll do one more.
A Pavati.
Oh, the
So
Texas.
Pavati's like that all aluminum boat, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
They don't do
really-
anything good. It sounds like, except look. Oh, Ford Explorer.
No,
Or-
it's just wheels and tires.
oh,
Boo.
boo.
Should I search something?
Yeah,
or
I think we're gonna have to search something. That's what you want, right? One of those Explorers?
Yeah,
earlier
yes.
one.
No,
You
I
want
want
this?
that one.
That's the early ones.
That is an early one. Ford Explorer.
92 manual transmission, 4-wheel drive,
There you go.
$850.
How can you go wrong? Sawzall, tons, 40s. Yes, please.
Will need to be towed off our property.
No title.
Ugh.
Mm.
How do you not have a title?
Record keeping's just not so good these days.
It must be a struggle street these days to keep a
Mhm.
title. Like, anyway, find something different. Come on, John.
$850.
John, go
Hold
buy
on, Can I
that.
save this?
You sure can,
I
bud.
got a
you.
better one for you, remember?
No. I
Keep going.
don't.
Keep scrolling. Before Kenny goes, oh, you talking about boats? You have a lot of boat stuff here.
Ever since I told you I've been like eyeballing boats, they've picked up on my. It listens to you way too much.
Yeah.
I don't look at OBS Fords that often because I don't
have too many.
I have too many.
You don't need any more.
Yeah, we'll just search it.
All right, here we go.
Look at that gas pump. That thing's cool. Oh. That one in Beaverton looks cool, but it must just be the picture.
It's catfishing at its finest.
It is. Just scroll down. Let's just see. Let's
look a little
just
bit.
see a little bit before we pull the trigger.
We already looked at
The dually looks
Lightning.
cool. That 96 dually. Ugh.
Nobody bought the Lightning yet. Huh?
It's been for sale a long time.
That's a pretty clean looking truck.
Oh. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Okay, 1996 Ford F350 crew cab long bed, $16,000, listed 19 weeks ago in Portland, Oregon, with 219,000 miles. Description reads: serious inquiries only. Clean F350 96 Power Stroke 7.3 regular maintenance since day one. Not a 4x4. It's a dually. Runs good. Message me. Actually, it is 4-wheel drive. It's 4x6.
Technically, you're right. Technically,
okay.
it is a 4-wheel drive.
Message me if you want to look at this truck. Okay.
I think that's a decent looking.
So what red is this?
We'd have to go back to our panel of reds.
Yeah.
It's a red
From
red.
last episode.
It's that darker.
It's the monthly
maroon
red.
Yeah. It's not. It's
What
not
color's the
bright
interior?
red.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say
Gray.
gray.
Probably gray.
The hood's missing some clear coat. It appears.
Why does the first picture look good and the second one looks crap and the third one looks crap? It's like,
Catfishing.
and then the back looks wrong bumper.
Wrong bumper.
The canopy's matching though. It looks cool.
Yeah, nice Lear canopy.
And I love that right there. That right there signifies that.
What is it that you love?
I love the cheesy DZ whatever brand.
The Duraliner.
The Duraliner, the slide-in bed liner. When I see that in a truck, I just like, oh yeah, let's lift that up and see the gold that's underneath it. 90% of the time, it's in good shape.
Ooh, it's got so it's gray interior and it has the rear cup holders.
But
kinda
let's see the
rare.
front seat. That's where all the business is. It's not bad.
Not bad.
Airbags.
Factory
What's
CD
with the
player.
streaks in the front seat? It looks like someone clawed the front seat. See that, boys?
Yeah.
That looks weird on the passenger side.
Did they detail it with like a?
Or they were maybe a little on the heavier side, and so there's more creases.
Maybe it had seat covers on it,
Maybe they had.
Oh, I bet
and they
that's
took
what
them
it
off to take the
is.
photos.
No, it could be.
Because
Because
they
the
have,
seat
like-
covers kind of bunched it up.
Could be.
Or the seat covers have like strings and straps to pull them tight.
Yeah,
It's interesting, but the plastic's still in the seats. Not terrible. A little cracky.
Little crack.
But the seats look legit. They're not terrible.
It's funny those like that side cover. You can buy those,
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
true.
not bad.
No. Thank God for the VIN. It signifies it is a true Power Stroke.
How do
Okay.
you know?
Well, because the Power Strokes got goofy in that year of the
96.
no, I was thinking the split year
94.
94.
Yeah.
That's when that was kind of goofy.
But how do you know on the VIN?
Because the date up there, I was just looking to see if 05
Oh.
96. That's why I figured
Gotcha.
they showed that.
When did they stop making OBS Fords? What are the latest?
97.
But like date wise, they talk about that because you have that year of 98, right? That is a weird in betweener between the Super Duty.
I've never seen a 98.
Like the late, not a model year sold
Manufacture
as,
date.
but I'm just talking dates on. I wonder. I'd
don't
be
know.
curious to see like what is the latest known manufacture date on
Of a
an
97?
OBS Ford in 97 model.
I think
year.
I've seen a like 1297.
Really?
Yeah. I believe I worked on a customer.
Wouldn't it be cool to
truck.
be the guy in the on the final part of the assembly line, seeing it go through? It's the last one, boys.
I love that. Speaking
That'd
of
be wild.
Speaking of assembly lines, have you guys?
You wouldn't
seen all
care though,
the-
as a as a guy, worker. You're like, oh god, I'm so done with this body style. I can't wait to go home and drink. What's the next thing we're doing? What's a Super Duty? That sounds lame.
Have you seen all the videos people have been posting about like it's all the retro assembly line videos and stuff with OBS
Yeah.
Fords? I'd love that. There's a couple pages on Instagram that are doing that. What I was saying is, has another vehicle manufacturer ever it's weird that there's a model year gap
Yeah.
between changes.
I'm sure there is.
I'm-
We just
I'm
don't
like-
follow it. I'm sure there's like GM
Yeah.
and Dodge has that too.
There's technically a 98 F250 and F150, but they're the Ford Taurus ones.
Yeah, they're not
Yes.
even a 1 ton or
Right.
a true 3/4 ton or a light duty. But I'm sure there is. I'm sure manufacturers like, hey, whatever it is R&D or design isn't ready to go. So like, screw it. We're not going to do this model year.
Maybe somebody smart will comment and let us know.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Technically, they did that for researcher purposes. Anyway.
They're not going to comment after you treat them like that.
Oh, all right. Well, I take it back.
You got to keep them in check, John. You need me.
I know. I tried.
There's got to be one more that's cleaner than
No,
this.
we're doing one more.
Keep going.
2 hours later.
Dude, why Marketplace is just look at one it can be short bed F150. Okay, sorry.
No,
94. No, you've already looked at it.
Don't
Kenny?
go there. I've
Okay.
seen that one.
$27,000 in Woodland, Washington. Ooh.
This one?
What's this blue one right here? Let's go just a little.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
No, the dollar amount. Okay, look here. The dollar amount signifies that it's going to be a shit box.
Dollar amount and miles?
That can't be right.
The gasser.
So okay, click on now. We're
Here
intrigued.
We go. Okay, 96 F250
Oh,
Super Cab long bed located in Lakewood, Washington for $9,900.
looking for a classic? Yes. Reliable? Yes. Tough truck? Yeah, I am. This 96 F250 XLT 4x4 extended cab is the perfect condition of vintage styling and durability. Can we just say this is probably a car dealership that wrote this with AI? With just 108,000 miles, this truck is barely broken. It is in for its legendary OBS platform. Oh shit! It's a 3/4 ton with a 5.8. Oh
yeah.
Price to sell.
okay.
Don't miss out.
Features and specs: 5.8 liter automatic transmission, smooth shifting. It says 4-wheel drive, ready for any terrain. Extra cab, extra room, and comfort.
Dude, this is Chat GPT.
Yes, blue exterior and interior, classic 90s Ford look, XLT trim package, power windows, door locks, and cruise control, factory chrome bumpers and trim, timeless styling, newer tires ready to roll, well maintained and runs great. This truck is in good condition for its age, has been well taken care of, perfect for a collector, Ford enthusiast, or anyone looking for a durable workhorse with classic OBS charm. Price to sell, don't miss out on this clean 96 F250 4x4. Message me for more details or schedule time to check it out. Yeah.
Wow, that was really good.
Was
That's
that good?
like the radio voice.
Was that the radio
yeah,
voice?
I like that a lot.
Thanks. I'm trying hard.
I just got in the zone listening to you.
Well, I'm looking at this.
Mesmerizing, isn't it?
I think when.
Sultry.
Oh, look at the underneath. What is underneath there?
All the
what is that?
detailing they didn't do.
That's the spare tire carrier.
I don't. You sure about that?
Down. I think so.
That looks like something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rear bumper's not original. Okay, hold on a minute. Just what I'm seeing here,
Look at the
people.
tailgate.
Okay, what they did here is it's like Kenny would say catfish material, because you're like, oh, it's dark blue, and then you see the tailgate and it's got pop marks like a 15-year-old's face after after a hard season.
Oh,
Wrong bumper.
it's very wrinkly.
Yeah, it's got a lot of cellulite in it.
I do not believe that this truck has 109,000 miles.
I don't believe this.
I've
truck's-
been hoodwinked on that already, so I'm not.
You can't just change a cluster, can you? It's harder than that, right?
Not
yeah, you
really.
can. I mean, you can. Look at the brake pedal. We've learned that one, but this thing is rough. I feel like
Let's message him for a picture of the brake pedal and follow that up on the next episode.
oh, got a worn spot on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that comfy. That seat looks really comfy though.
you know what I
It
do like
does.
though? The carpet looks clean and it has the original floor mat in it, or someone repopped the floor mat. The carpet doesn't look that bad.
Interesting.
No.
The rear seat's vinyl.
That is a plot twist, Kenny. I don't think that's right.
Cloth front seat, vinyl rear.
And that's not right either. Having a 5.8 and a 3/4 ton truck.
I saw one the other day in a dually, crew cab.
Well, remember the dually we saw that was all painted up because the guy had a matching jet ski race car trailer? It's a
Oh.
5.8,
Yeah.
and that's his pull rig.
Yeah.
I mean, something small enough with the right ratio and tire size, it'd be
Yeah,
okay. If you live
gooseneck
like,
race car trailer.
Especially if you're going downhill all the time.
Yeah,
If you're going downhill the whole time, you're good to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Every road leads to down. You're good to go. All right, we got to do one more because there's one more clean one there. I just want to look at real quick, John. Go up. This $27,000 one. The price tag intrigues me. What do we got here?
Read it. Or do you want
27. Okay, so what we have here is a 97 F350. It's got 166K. It is a diesel. It is red on red. It's a lot of red.
in Woodland, Washington?
Which Woodland's conditions can be really rusty at times, but not all
no,
the time.
not really.
I don't know.
That's
It
just
sure
straight up
seems
from
like it.
Portland, like an hour or so. It's
Yeah, I
not
don't
bad.
know. Okay, what we got here is 97 F350 XLT Power Stroke Crew Cab, says Club Cab, but we're going to correct that. This classic 97 F350 old body style Ford 7.3 liter Power Stroke is built to haul. It has 166K miles, E4OD transmission, blah, 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 blah. Heavy duty clutch. Wait, what? Oh, 2000 heavy duty clutches. Okay, billet torque converter, oversized pan, large transcooler, Club Cab manual. Club Cab, got it.
They like
manual
that
locking,
Club Cab.
yeah,
Must
manual
have been
locking
listening
hubs.
to this podcast.
Right, 8-foot bed, blah blah blah. Clifford alarm system. Okay,
With remote start.
recent horsepower upgrades to the power plant include a KC Turbo 300X Stage 2 turbocharger, full force 180 over 30.
If you listen to the last podcast, that's not a bad combination.
No, it's not. But
Except
does
for
it?
you got to check that drive pressure.
And does it have an intercooler? Doesn't say that yet. IDP fuel system with Bosch pump and billet filter base, adrenaline high pressure oil pump, high frequency, high voltage injector drive module, diesel site water to air intercooler with aluminum expansion tank, and Mustang 2003 Cobra water pump.
to pump the water for the air.
Interesting.
Air to water.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's
interesting.
it's an interesting concept.
AFE cold air intake with rechargeable filter, hydro chip tuner with 6 tunes, serpentine belt drive component kit, full force thermostat housing with 203 thermostat. Geez, we have a list here. Motorcraft pump C engine water pump, 200 amp alternator. The paint has some cosmetic flaws, but there haven't been any accidents or rust issues. Seriously, inquiries only.
Oh, no trades and no scams. Good to know.
I was gonna
planning
scam
on
him. I was
scamming
scamming him.
but
I was ready to
now
scam.
You said not to.
I can't do that now. Okay, damn it.
Noted.
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 It looks clean. So okay, I was looking at bumpers. Oh,
Ruined.
Dang
ruined. He
it.
has
That
a nice
wasn't-
factory bumper, but he cut in backup lights, and they don't look, in my opinion, good on there. But that's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. What I always look at is the bumper, the middle of the bumper. It's not all beat up
Dude.
and scratched up from someone backing into stuff, which looks cool. Bed tailgate is down in this picture, and the tailgate and the inside of the bed looks amazing, minus the
Yeah.
fifth wheel hitch brackets. This is not a bad truck.
Go back.
What'd you see, Kenny?
Looks like rust on the front of the bumper. It's a reflection of something in the driveway.
Something.
Who knows? But the rest, I mean, this truck looks legit.
Not bad.
No, 165K is pretty low for this truck, I would think. Got
Filler
gauge pods.
gauges,
I
yeah.
hate those, but that's got hydro tuner. The carpet looks good. I mean, I look at the
Right.
seats. The seats like look pretty good shape. Wow,
Yeah.
it's a nice truck.
All in all,
It's
like
not
carpet
bad. Little
needs a
staining in the
shampoo.
yeah, shampooing.
Shampooing.
Shampooing. I was shampooing too late and I went blind. I mean, this isn't a bad truck
No.
for what we're looking at here.
For the money.
Airbags. Is it? I see under. Okay, so we got a picture of the engine bay.
It's interesting, right? You haven't seen those before?
I have not seen that. I
Yeah.
wonder how well they work.
I don't know about the performance. What do you have you heard anything, John?
No, they're not bad performance wise, but
They can't be as good as a traditional intercooler.
I don't think they are.
I think the idea behind them was less packaging.
Right,
Yeah,
less
not
BS up
having to
front.
Cut the
Yeah.
core sport.
But with an OBS Solutions intercooler kit and Obsession diesel pipe kit, they'll make wonders for that truck.
You could drop your EGTs by 2/3.
Yeah,
yeah, about 220 degrees.
which is a big deal.
Yep, turbo.
Yeah, that's a turbo.
Oh,
Damn
clear coat coming
it!
off the hood.
Well, some would say that is OBS patina. Clear coat is left to chat, everyone, but the rest of the truck is really clean. So maybe you can get lucky, have the rest truck buffed out, and maybe have the hood shot again.
I just lifted tall enough people can't see it.
That's what Kenny does. Just lift the shit out of it so you can't see all the imperfections.
I'd offer him 17.5.
Go for it. Let me know how it pans out.
Do it right now.
Yeah, do it right now. Well, I think that concludes this episode of the Truckery podcast. What do you think, boys?
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Yeah, Kenny, you good?
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right. Well, Kenny, thanks so much for coming over the hill and hanging out with John and I today. John, thanks for having us at your lovely house
course.
and shop.
It's my podcast studio.
Oh, that's right. We have to make it
Duh.
sound official in the studio today. Is there anything else we need to say?
I don't think so.
I'll see everybody in 2 years.
Well,
2
don't forget,
years.
we have a truck show coming up. We should probably start telling
Oh,
people
yeah,
about.
we do need to mention that.
Yeah, we do need to mention that this truck show that we keep on having every year. That
a truck is given away.
we're giving a free truck away.
The cowboy truck.
No, not the cowboy truck.
Oh.
No,
The blue truck.
not the blue truck. We're giving
Princess?
no, not Princess.
The Super Duty.
Not this. No, we're not giving any of this away. We are giving away better than all those trucks. Truck with only 33,000 miles on it.
Wow.
An OG truck with 33,000 miles we found, and we are going to give this truck away. It's mint condition. I don't think the bed has ever had anything in it. The bed, like,
What is it? What year?
Oh, let me tell you, it is a 96 F350
250.
Oh, 250. Well, I'm way off on this. I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention here. 250. Thank you, Kenny. 2-wheel drive, single cab, long bed. With
460?
460 with a matching canopy.
Automatic. What color's the interior?
Blue.
What color's the paint?
Like it.
Exterior, the main body is white with blue on the bottom.
Oxford white.
Oxford white. What was the blue color we said
Oh, it had an interesting name. It was like medium something. It's that like it's Ryan Hausman color blue, right?
That's right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a
on just the
good-
bottom.
Just the bottom.
And it has the factory steps, original Firestone tires.
From when it was like OGs with a date
It's
code.
all original.
Yeah.
Oh, better
No exhaust leaks.
sign a waiver on those
We'll-
tires.
We will put tires on it.
Oh, you're
before-
going to put tires on it too?
Yeah, we'll put tires on it.
Wow.
But it's like the way it runs, like it's quiet. You know, you've 460 exhaust leaks. I'm sure we've all heard those before.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
That was one of the first questions I think I asked you about
Does it have
it.
an exhaust leak? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
dude, it's so new that it's so like, and that you close the doors. It still has factory door hinges, obviously, but everything's still tight. You close, you're like, oh my gosh, what was that? It's
40 seat, not a bench.
it's very cool truck,
Yeah.
and I want to
Nice.
keep it, but I think it'd be way cooler to give this truck away at
Oh,
the truck
yeah.
show. So if you come to our truck show, you are going to get a chance to win this truck.
Somebody's going home with it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So on that note, it is what's the dates, Kenny?
August 15th and 16th at Powerland Heritage Park in Brooks, Oregon.
So this is our 6th year of the truck show.
Yep.
Every year we get more and more trucks. Last year we were around the 500 mark, give or take.
Mhm.
We want to see that grow. And this might be the last year. We never know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll find out. Anyway, John, thanks so much again. You're
Of
listening
course.
to Truckery Podcast.
We'll see you guys next time.
Later, John. Later, Kenny.
See ya.